A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia. Claudia, based on the original stories by Rose Franken. Brought to you, transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
Claudia, now that we're back on the street, could you kindly explain to me why you insisted on going shopping today?
Why not, Mama?
Why not go shopping is not a good enough reason to go shopping.
Good enough for me.
But you didn't buy a thing. We walked through that entire store and you couldn't find one thing you wanted.
Wasn't the store beautiful and empty?
So we went shopping just because you hated the idea of this store running around empty.
Well, I just thought if I had something to buy, this would be a good day to do it. Before the big rush on returning Christmas presents begins.
But you didn't have any shopping to do.
Just because I didn't happen to see anything I wanted.
Oh, what's the use of trying to get you to behave sensibly? Let's go home.
Fine.
Oh, we shouldn't have taken the car downtown in the first place. The bus is a lot safer.
You and David, you have no faith in me at all. Did we have one accident, just one little accident on the way down?
You tried hard enough. It was no fault of yours we didn't. Claudia, are you sure you know where you left that parking lot?
Yes, it's right where it was. I think it's just one more block up this street. Mama, how do you think he is?
How do you think who is?
The Dane, of course. Bluff. You know, he just loves driving around. He sticks his head out of the window. It's sweet, isn't it?
Precious. I think he thinks it's safer to be half out of the car than all in it. Claudia, I wish you'd do what David says and leave the car in the garage where it belongs.
That parking lot. Now, where was it? I just can't. Now, let me think. You know, I don't believe in parking lots anyway.
You don't.
You pay 75 cents an hour just to leave a car sitting around. It's highway robbery, that's what it is. If that little man hadn't taken all that empty space and put his parking lot on it, there'd be plenty of room for me to park my car for nothing.
Well, here we are at the corner.
That's queer. We came out of it, turned right. I'm sure we did.
Claudia, what is that ahead of us?
Well, for heaven's sakes. Mama, it's the parking lot. I could have sworn it was...
Don't.
Well, I'm certainly glad we're here. You get in, Mama. Hello, you old bluffer, old thing. It's funny, when I came in here, there were hardly any other cars. Now I'm surrounded.
It's a free country.
Exactly. And I pay 75 cents like everybody else. You think they could have left me a little more room?
That 75 cents certainly seems to upset you.
It does. Look how close those cars are to me, on the right, on the left, and back of me.
There's nothing in front of you. You just drive straight out frontwards.
There isn't much place to drive straight out frontwards.
Well, go slowly, then nothing much can happen.
Nothing is going to happen? The key?
So far, so good.
The brakes?
Don't you think you ought to keep them on for a while?
Mama, do you know how to drive?
No, but I admit it.
All right. The brake. No reason for it to be on. No. All I'm going to do is start the car. Now, the starter. Oh!
Claudia, what happened?
I don't know what happened. I hadn't even started it. The car couldn't have moved. I didn't even have it in first.
First what?
First gear. It's up here in reverse.
Well, you did jump backwards.
I don't see how we could. What's this thing doing in reverse anyway?
Claudia, Aren't you even going to look at what you did to that other car?
Couldn't have done very much. I just bumped into it.
I think you have killed it.
You're an alarmist.
And here comes the owner of the corpse. Now,
Mama, what are you going to say?
what am I going to say?
Say, listen here. Do you realize... I'm sorry. I thought that...
Yes?
Well, that's my car you just backed into.
Oh, it is?
I was just getting ready to pull out. It's too bad I didn't get started a little sooner.
Would have made it a lot easier.
Claudia.
Did it hurt you very much?
Well, nothing that can't be fixed.
See, Mama?
They can fix practically anything these days.
Say, is that your dog there on the floor?
He's an awful coward, scared to death of strangers.
Well, don't tell the strangers. He looks wicked.
We call him Bluff. Stand up, Bluff. Try to make an impression.
Oh, leave him alone. He's happy. They call me Jim. Jim Grant.
And my name is Claudia Norton. This is my mother.
How do you do?
How are you?
I must apologize for my daughter.
Well, not at all. Nothing to apologize for.
I guess I better go look and see what I did. Coming, Mama?
No, I'll just stay here with Bluff. Thank you.
Put these cars so close together.
Yes, it's very inconsiderate of them. Makes pulling out so difficult.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Mama thinks I'm the only person who bumps into other cars.
See? That's all you did.
Oh, I mashed in the front.
Well, it just looks worse than it is.
And there's water running out. I didn't know there was water in a car. Just gasoline.
Water, too, but water's free.
What about your car? I mean, has to be fixed, doesn't it?
Well, that's nothing for you to worry about. I'm insured, and I expect you're insured.
Me?
Well, your car, it's insured, isn't it?
I suppose so.
Then you just tell your insurance company about it, and they'll get in touch with mine.
But will it cost me very much?
Won't cost you a cent. The insurance company will pay.
Oh, I see. That's very sweet of them. Won't they mind?
You're very funny.
I don't see what's so funny about that. If I were the insurance company, I'd mind terribly.
Well, if you do this very often, maybe, but otherwise it's all in a day's work for them.
Some people do the strangest kind of work.
Now, here you are. Here's my card, and I've written the name of my insurance company on it.
Thank you very much. I'll put it in my pocket so I won't lose it.
Well, bye. It's been very nice meeting you.
Goodbye.
I hope I see you again sometime.
I hope so.
I'm a physicist. I work in a lab in Stanford, and I'm pretty busy, but there's always time for what you like.
Yes, isn't there? Well, goodbye.
Look, I'll try to pull out first, and then it won't matter which direction your car decides to go in.
My car goes where I decide. Sometimes.
So does mine. Sometimes.
Now that we're all through with dinner and the dishwasher's hard at work, how would you like to sit on my lap and tell me what's been happening today?
I'd love to sit on your lap. But nothing's been happening.
Well, you must have done something all day.
Nothing much. I thought about the souffle for dinner for a while.
No wonder it was so light.
I prefer to ignore that. Your new pipe smells nice.
Did thinking over the souffle take you the whole day? Didn't you go out?
Oh, yes, Mom and I went shopping this afternoon.
Again?
But we didn't get anything.
Oh.
We drove downtown, though.
Drove? In a cab, I trust.
You expect me to spend money on a cab when we have a perfectly good car sitting around in the garage?
Did you park the car?
I did, without any trouble at all.
Oh, you're improving, darling.
I parked it 8 times, and backwards. But there was a fire hydrant. They leave them in the most impractical places.
Thoughtless of the fire department. So then what?
And then I finally had to leave the car in a parking lot. It's a gyp. It's just as expensive as taking a cab.
But taking the car costs less, I thought.
David.
Hmm?
Do insurance companies always pay for the things you do to other people's cars?
If you're insured, they do.
Are we insured?
Sure, we're insured.
That's good.
I insure everything the minute that we... Claudia, what did you say?
I said, that's good. Why? Isn't it?
I don't know yet. Why do you care if we're insured?
Because it'll save us a lot of money.
What have you done?
I haven't done anything. He said it wasn't anything at all.
Who said?
The man whose car our car hit.
Our car hit somebody else's car?
David, your nostrils are wiggling. I don't see why you're so angry.
I'm not angry. I just want to know what happened.
Nothing happened. I told you. Besides, we're insured, so whatever happened doesn't matter at all.
Claudia, no matter what you tell me, I promise not to shout. I'm not the least bit angry. Not the least bit. Now, just begin at the beginning and tell me quietly, one step at a time, everything that's happened.
David, honestly, such a fuss.
You parked the car in the parking space.
And I left Bluff in it.
And then you went shopping, and you didn't buy anything, and you went back to the car.
And that's when it happened.
What?
The car wasn't even moving, David. I was practically standing still.
But you ran into somebody.
Backwards. He wasn't there when I parked the car.
Oh, he sneaked up on you.
Exactly. Because I just put my foot on the starter and the car jumped back.
You left the car in gear, you cluck.
I did not. It was in reverse. And then it stopped again. I knew it wasn't supposed to. No, it wasn't supposed
now,
to move.
darling, calmly. What did our stupid car do to the other man's car?
Well, it kind of mashed in that griddle in the front.
You mean, oh, no.
And then some water spilled out. Not much.
Oh, no.
That's all.
That's all. That's not enough, I suppose. Do you know what that'll cost?
Of course I do. Not a dime. You said so yourself. It's the insurance company.
It's the principle of the thing.
What is?
Darling, I've been home for 2 hours and you didn't tell me a word of this. Now, why? I want to know why.
Because nothing happened, David. Our car is perfectly all right. We're insured. And the man was very nice about it.
He was nice about it, eh?
Lovely. Not the least little bit angry.
Was he a young man or an older man?
Very young. Younger than you, I'd say. But older than me.
Oh, older than you, huh?
David, what's the matter? Aren't you pleased he was so nice?
Delighted.
He said it didn't bother him at all.
Even though he probably won't be able to use that car for weeks.
He's a physicist, so he's very busy.
You know all about him, of course.
He told me his name is Grant. Nice, simple name. David, are you jealous?
No, except if I'd bumped into his car like that, I'd probably be in jail.
Why?
Claudia, I wish you would never drive again.
That's not fair. I didn't hurt our car, and since we have a car, I don't see...
Well, if you drive it, we won't have it very long.
This is the most colossal conceit. If there were more women drivers...
There'd be fewer men. The mortality would be so high, but nevertheless, if you insist on driving...
I do.
All right. I bow to your will. I will try to teach you to drive.
I know how to drive.
Well, not so anyone would know it. But I shall sacrifice humanity and take you on a nice, quiet, empty country road and teach you.
Tomorrow, David?
No, can't be tomorrow.
Sunday?
I should say not. It's bad enough you have to be a woman driver. Do you want to be a Sunday driver, too?
These programs star Catherine Bard as Claudia and Paul Crabtree as David, and the entire production is supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney. You can't force sociability. It just grows like Topsy when conditions are relaxed and friendly. But you can help it along, there's no doubt about that, simply by saying, "Have a Coke." Everyone seems to enjoy homes where there's plenty of refreshing Coca-Cola in the refrigerator. Yours can easily be such a home now that there's more Coke available again. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you, transcribed, with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again Monday at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. detective sergeant. You're assigned the burglary detail. In a year's time, a burglar has taken approximately $80,000 in money and jewelry. None of his victims can describe him. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. It was 8:02 a.m. when I got to room 45. Burglary. That you, Joe? Yeah. How about that fight last night, huh? Did you see it on Channel 4?
No, I started to watch it. The set went on.
Picture tube?
I don't know, Joe. Picture got all fuzzy and started to wobble. You know, like when an airplane goes over between the set and the train.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The set's been acting up lately. I thought there might be something wrong with the aerial, so I figured I'd take a look at it. Got the ladder out, got up on the roof. Sure enough, one of the wires on the thing was off. Just hanging by a little bit of the rubber coating. Climbed back down to get the wire cutters to fix it. Couldn't find them. Had to use scissors to strip the insulation off the wire. Got the wire all fixed to put back on, then I couldn't find the pliers to get the nut off the aerial. Looked all through the house, no so.
What'd you do?
Nothing I could do. Try to get the nut off with the scissors. Broke them. Finally went back into the house to listen to the radio. Fight was over.
Yeah, I only went 4 rounds.
Yeah, I found that out. Got the radio on just when the announcer was giving the last commercial. And Faye and me had a talk.
And then again.
Yeah, I told her I was going to buy a whole new set of tools. The first time I saw the kids with one of them, I was going to raise the roof.
Must have made her happy.
Yeah, it did. Made some remark about them only being kids. Said if I wanted to keep the tools out of their hands, I should put them in a place where they can't reach them. There's only one trouble, Joe.
What's that?
With Mike and Stacy, there isn't such a place.
Figure I know what you mean. It's sure a good fight, though. It's too bad you missed it.
Yeah.
Got in, Smith? Yeah, Skipper.
Right here with you.
Right.
Skipper, what's up?
Sit down. Just got a call from the Wilshire Division. That string of burglaries I've had out there. They can't spare the men to give this thing the time it looks like it's going to take to turn it for. So I'm putting you two on it. And here's all the crime reports on.
Looks like you've been busy. A lot of reports here.
What's he picking?
Money and jewelry.
He uses a celluloid strip to get into the houses. Not much unusual about that.
No. According to the reports, he's been hitting around 3:30 to 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah, he evidently rings the bell first to see if there's anybody in the house. And then if there isn't, he uses celluloid to open the door. Goes through the house, then leaves by the back door.
What's this bit here about the glass of milk?
Well, that's the one part of his M.O. that's new. It seems every place he goes into, he has a glass of milk before he leaves.
Any prints on the glass?
I haven't found any yet. Seems to wipe the glass clean before he leaves.
Stats office come up with anything on the M.O.?
Nothing that hasn't been checked out. The leads they gave us didn't go anyplace.
How about the victims? Any of them ever see the guy?
No, not good. A couple of them have caught glimpses of him leaving the house. Didn't realize at the time that he'd just come from their place.
How about a description?
Everybody that's seen him tells a different story. Some have him tall and thin, others have him short and husky. Some have him dark, others light. Anybody's guess.
Oh, that makes it easy, huh?
You been working any one area, Skipper?
Yeah, according to those reports, he works around in here. Here. From Wilshire to Pico on the south, La Brea to Robertson on the west.
A lot of areas, Skipper.
Yeah.
How about help?
Much as you need. Metro will give you as many men as they can spare. Said you could probably count on 10 teams.
Well, we should be able to patrol the area pretty well with them. Be it more than one place a day?
Yeah. Sometimes 3 or 4. Depends on how much time it takes them to go through a place.
And he never works later than 6 o'clock.
No, not that we know.
Pretty smart. More people on the streets that time of day, less likely to be noticed.
That's probably the way he figures it.
I still don't think I get this milk thing here.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Do you have it every place he goes?
Seems to. The owner comes home and finds all the money and jewelry in the place gone and an empty glass on the table in the living room.
Living room?
Yeah, in the living room. Evidently pours the milk right after he gets into the house and carries it around with him while he works. Finishes it up before he leaves. Boys from Wilshire found those rings, you know, when you put a glass down on the table.
Yeah, I know.
Found them all over the house.
I haven't found any prints at all, huh?
No, Leighton Prince has gone over the places completely. Everything they found has a right to be there. Belongs to the family or friend.
$80,000. How about the pawn shop detail? They turn up anything?
No, nothing. None of the jewelry's turned up as far as we can tell.
Looks like a gem, huh?
It is. It's all yours.
All right. We'll get started on it right away.
You two stay on this until you clean it up.
Right, Skipper.
Any ideas where you're going to start?
Well, only one place, the neighborhood where he works.
Yeah?
We don't know him. Maybe he'll come to us.
Frank and I went over the reports. In general, the operation was the usual type. Use of a celluloid strip to enter a house wasn't new. The suspect operated during those times when detection was least likely. He never operated in the rain.
All in all, with the exception of the milk drinking, the case could have been 100 others. Frank and I spent the rest of the afternoon talking to the victims who had seen the burglar. They were all sure that the man they'd seen was the one we wanted, but their description varied from each other. All the victims had been shown mug books, but failed to identify the suspect. We called Metro Division and asked them to give us as many radio units as possible to cover the area. They assigned 10 cars to the detail. Frank and I covered the entire area in our car. Wednesday, September 5th. 2 months had passed, during which time the burglar hit only 2 houses. In spite of the heavy patrol action in the area, he got away safely in both instances. 5:45 p.m.
Looks like another day shot, huh?
Yeah, another 15 minutes to go.
Well, one thing anyway, he's calmed down, Joe. Isn't going to make 100,000 this year.
Wait a minute, Frank.
Yeah?
Up ahead there on the left, White House.
Yeah, I can see him.
Pull over here. We'll walk down it.
Right.
Come on, you get on my side.
All right. Still working.
Yeah, probably a double lock on that door, huh? Celluloid won't work there. Having a little trouble, mister?
Huh?
Looks like you're having a little trouble getting that door open.
Oh, yeah, I lost the key. You police officers?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, happy to know you're on the job, protecting my house and all. Sure appreciate it.
Wonder if we can see your identification.
I beg your pardon?
Your identification? Wonder if we can see it.
Well, what's the matter? Don't you believe me that I live in this house?
We just like to see your ID. Nothing wrong with you showing it to us, is there?
Oh, of course not. Gee, looks like I left my wallet in the house.
What's that gadget you were trying to get into the house with there?
Oh, this? A piece of celluloid. I read about it someplace. I happen to have it.
Mm-hmm. Turn around, will you, toward the street?
Yeah, sure. What do you want?
What's the address of the house you live in?
The address?
Yes, sir.
You guys still don't believe I live here, do you?
The address, what is it?
1200 block in Allendale.
What's your name?
Anderson? Jack Anderson.
Maybe you can explain why the name of the mailbox is Radcliffe, huh?
Well, yeah, sure I can explain. You see, I'm just visiting here. Summer vacation, just out here a couple of weeks.
All right, mister, stand still.
Hey, wait a minute, what's going on? You got no right to
stand still. How about this wallet? Is it yours?
Yeah. Oh, come on, give it back now.
Let's take a look here. You said your name was Anderson, is that right?
Well, yeah, but I can explain that.
Yeah, I hope so. It's going to be a little involved, though.
Well, what's wrong?
2 things. Wrong house and wrong identification. Frank and I took the suspect back to the city hall for interrogation. Although he gave us the name Jack Anderson, all his identification bore the name Robert Red Neal. We ran the name through R&I. Neal had several previous arrests on burglary charges. According to the record, there were no wants on him at the time. 6:20 p.m. Frank and I questioned Neal.
All right, Neal, come on off it. Okay, so you know I don't live in the house. It looks like one I do live in. I just made a mistake, that's all. They build all these houses out here so they look alike.
Now, look, Neal, don't ask us to believe that one.
I'm not asking you to believe anything but the truth, and I'm telling you that.
Sure. Now, what about your record?
Well, what about it?
A lot of burglary charges.
All right, I did a little time. Now, what's that prove? I'm going straight now.
You still can't come up with a story to tell why you were trying to get into that house.
I told you, I thought it belonged to a friend of mine.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
You like milk, Neal?
Huh?
You like milk?
Look, I don't get this. What are you trying to
Just
prove?
answer the question. Do you like milk?
I can take it or leave it alone. I'm a big boy now. Sometimes I drink coffee.
How long have you been in town, Neal?
Couple of weeks. Why?
Where were you before you got here?
Up north.
Where up north?
Down Sacramento.
What'd you do up there?
A few odd jobs. Look, if you guys are going to book me, then do it. Let's get this yak over.
A couple of things we want to settle first, Neal.
What?
How long were you up north?
I guess it's been about 6-7 months.
7 months. You got any way of proving that?
Look, why should I have to prove anything? You guys figure you got a rap you can stick me with? Okay, try it. Book me in.
Look, don't press, Neal. Can you prove you're up north for the last 7 months?
Yeah, it shouldn't be any trouble at all.
Who do we talk to?
The sheriff up there, he had me in the can.
After waiting for 2 months, the one suspect we were able to turn had an alibi that we couldn't shake. Frank and I went back to rolling stakeout. The burglaries continued. Evidently, the burglar was getting more and more reckless. The police cars in the area were acting as less of a deterrent to his activities. In 2 weeks, he looted 16 homes. A week of bad weather brought his operation to a standstill, but as soon as the rain cleared, he went back to work. Tuesday, October 9th, we got a call from an elderly woman who said that she had information regarding the burglaries. Frank and I drove over to talk to her.
Won't you sit down, officers?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, Miss Blair, you said on the phone that you had something to tell us about the burglaries.
Yes, I have. Would you like a little something to eat? Sandwich, coffee? I just took some cookies out of the oven. Maybe you'd like some of those and a glass of milk.
No, ma'am. Thanks just the same. Now, could you just tell us what you know, please?
Well, I feel a little silly about it, officer. At first, I didn't think I'd say anything about it, but then I got to thinking. I figured it might be better if I did tell you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's about the burglaries, you know.
Yes, ma'am. That's what you said on the phone.
Phone? Oh, yes. You mean when I called you?
Yes, I'd like. Now, if you'd please tell us what it is that you have here.
Of course. I guess I'm just being a coward about it, not telling you right out, but when you hear the whole story, you'll understand.
Yes, ma'am.
You see, I went out to the store yesterday afternoon and had a sale on frozen foods down at the supermarket. Wonderful bargains. Fruit juice at 12 cents a can. Prices on vegetables where you just wouldn't believe it.
We understand that, ma'am. Now, how about the burglaries?
Oh, yes. Well, I went to the market about 2:30. That's when I left the house. Normally, I meet my husband after work and he brings me home. Only yesterday he didn't. He had some work to do at his office. He's in real estate.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yesterday he didn't bring me home. I caught a ride with that nice Mrs. Coddington. Lived 2 doors down. She brought me home yesterday. I got here about 3:45. Remember looking at the mantel clock when I came in? That one there.
Yes, ma'am.
Clock has always kept perfect time. Wedding present. Lovely thing.
Yes, ma'am. It's very nice.
Isn't it though? The gold work on the face.
Ma'am, we don't like to be rude, but if you just tell us what you know about the burglaries.
Well, certainly. You see, I came into the house, and there he was.
Ma'am?
The burglar. There he was in the hall, drinking a glass of milk. Such a nice-looking boy. Just stood there for a minute drinking the milk.
Well, what did he do when he saw you?
He put the milk down on the telephone table, and then he started to run to the back door. I told him to stop.
Did he?
Not at first. Then I told him that my husband was out in back, out in the garage. He stopped then.
Go on, ma'am.
I asked him what he was doing in my house.
What did he say?
Nothing, really. He just stammered around, said that maybe he'd made a mistake. I told him that I guess he had, breaking into somebody's house. Just terrible, officer. Like to scare the wits out of me.
Yes, ma'am.
I started to tell him how he should be ashamed of himself for stealing from other people. I really told him. I said, you know, we haven't got that much that we can have people like you come in here and steal. Then I picked up the phone and started to call the police. That's when he started to cry.
He started to cry?
Yes, just like a little boy. Put his hands up to his face and the tears just streamed down his cheeks.
What happened then, Mrs. Blair?
Well, when I saw him cry, he looked so small, like such a little boy, that I went over to him and comforted him.
You didn't get in touch with the police, ma'am?
Well, no. Oh, I suppose I should have, but I didn't. When I got the boy calmed down, he told me that he didn't know what he'd do if his family found out about it. He told me about his mother and how she died when he was just a baby and how his sister raised him. He said she was just a couple of years older than him. I asked about his father, and he said that his father was a drunk, that he had to bring in what money the family needed. Said that his sister was sick, bad heart, and that the shock of his being arrested to kill her. Well, now, I asked the officers, what could I do?
Well, what did you do, Miss Blair?
I told him to sit down. I wanted to talk to him. We went out in the kitchen, and I asked him if he was hungry. You know, growing boy and all. I thought he might like a sandwich or something. He said that he didn't want anything to eat, but he said he would like a glass of milk, so I poured him one.
You said that you'd talked with him?
Yes, I thought that maybe I could talk him out of continuing this way, stealing. I asked him if he had a job, something to earn an honest living.
Yes, ma'am.
He told me that he'd tried to find work after school, but anything he'd get just didn't pay him enough. He tried to get along on the money, but it just wasn't enough. Medicine for his sister and all. Then there was his father, horrible man.
Well, what did he say about his father?
Oh, he told me all about him, how he drinks and causes trouble, spends what little money they have on liquor.
This boy tell you his name, ma'am?
Not at first. He said he didn't want me to turn him in. I told him that I wouldn't, and then he said he was Bob Allison.
Did he tell you where he lived?
Not exactly. Said someplace out on East Los Angeles. I got the idea that he wasn't too proud of his home. Can't say I blame him.
How about a description, ma'am, what he looked like?
Well, now let me think. Well, I'd say he was young, about 17, maybe 18. Such a young man to be doing something like this.
How tall would you say he was, ma'am?
Tall? Oh, I guess as tall as you are. Maybe just a teeny bit taller.
That'd make him about 6 feet?
Yes, I guess so.
How about his build, ma'am?
Oh, nice, broad shoulders. You got no idea how I felt when I thought about this boy being a thief. It's terrible.
Yes, ma'am. So would you say he was heavy or slight? About how much would you say he weighed?
Oh, I'm bad at guessing people's weight. It'd be difficult to say.
Well, ma'am, would you say he was as heavy as I am?
Yes, about your weight.
How about the color of his hair?
Light, nice blonde hair. He had a little wave right here in front, blue eyes. Looked like such a little boy when he cried.
Yes, ma'am. Was there anything unusual about him that you might have noticed? Scars, moles, anything like that?
No, not a thing.
How about the way he talked? Anything unusual there, maybe?
Sorry.
How about his clothes, Mrs. Blair? How was he dressed?
A pair of slacks, a white shirt, and no tie. A button was missing from his shirt. Poor boy probably hasn't got anyone to take care of his clothes. Had on a school sweater. You know, the kind that the seniors get when they're going to graduate? Has the initial of the school on it and no stripes on the sleeve.
Yes, ma'am. What was the initial on the sweater?
There wasn't one. It had been taken off. I could tell that there had been one, though, because a few of the threads were still in the wool.
How about the color of the sweater?
Brown, a dark brown with yellow stripes.
Now, Miss Blair.
Yes?
The glass of milk that the boy drank from the glass, has it been washed yet?
I thought you'd ask about that. No, I stepped aside for you.
You have it now, ma'am?
Yes, it's in the kitchen. My husband said you'd want it. He was hopping mad when he heard about it, just about raised the roof right off the house.
I wonder if we could see that glass.
Well, of course. It's right out here in the kitchen.
Fine.
There it is on the drain board.
Anybody touched it since the boy?
No, I don't think so. My husband might have, but I don't think he did. He was quite adamant about me not washing it until you came.
Now, Miss Blair, this happened last night. How was it you waited until this morning to report it?
Well, at first I believed the boy. Really thought that it was just circumstances that made him steal. I felt so sorry for him when he broke down and cried. Right here, leave him. Give him every chance. And I let him go. I thought that it would do some good. Sort of a new beginning. When I told my husband about it, like I said, he was pretty sore. Talked about the young thief. We never had any children of our own, and I felt so sorry for the boy. I guess my husband couldn't understand. When Bob, that's his name, when Bob said he was sorry, I believed him and let him go. Just let him walk right out of the house. My husband got home, and I told him. He said to call you. I tried to talk to Sam. That's my husband. Make him understand, but he insisted. And then this morning, of course, I agreed with him, and so I called you.
Well, why was that, Mac?
Bob stole my watch.
Stop giving the bank your money. Stop it. If you think you're paying a high interest rate on your home loan, call Coastal Mortgage today, and they'll help you figure out how you can lower your monthly payment. When you buy a car, do you ask the salesperson if you can pay more than the sticker price? So why should you pay more than you have to on your home loan? Let an experienced broker represent you before more than 70 lending institutions, and you'll be assured the best possible rate and program. Imagine what you can do each month with the money you'll save. Just call Coastal Mortgage at 949-833-9144, and they'll walk you through a very simple process. There's no risk, because if they can't lower your interest rate, you're not obligated to take the loan. Call Coastal Mortgage right now at 949-833-9144 and speak to a qualified loan representative. That's 949-833-9144, 949-833-9144.
Finding out you or a loved one has cancer is never easy. It's natural to be afraid when faced with the decision of choosing a cancer treatment. For many cancer patients, fear of the treatment is almost as bad as the cancer itself. The Proton Treatment Center at Loma Linda University Medical Center is the result of 4 decades of leading-edge cancer research and treatment. Opened in 1990, the Proton Treatment Center offers a non-surgical procedure that is superior to traditional radiation therapy in a number of ways. Proton therapy is so precise, there is little or no damage to surrounding tissue. This results in minimal side effects, and most patients experience no disruption in their daily activities. In fact, proton therapy is offered as an outpatient procedure. Call 1-800-PROTONS for a free information packet and videotape explaining the benefits of proton therapy. 1-800-PROTONS. The Proton Treatment Center at Loma Linda University Medical Center. 1-800-PROTONS.
KNX 1070 News Radio.
11:45 a.m. Frank and I went back to the office. We ran the name Bob and Robert Allison through R&I. There was no record on anyone answering his description. We got out a local broadcast and an APB on him. Mrs. Blair went over the mug books but was unable to identify the boy. Frank got in touch with the Board of Education and asked for the name of the school using the colors brown and gold. They told him that it would take a little time to check, but that they'd call us back. We notified the cars from Metro of the new developments and gave them the description of the boy. A check of the phone books for the name netted us nothing. Latent prints were sent out to the home of Enid Blair to get the fingerprints of she and her husband. In checking over the empty glass found in the Blair home, besides the prints of Mr. and Mrs. Blair, Dean Bergman came up with a partial unidentified print. It was not enough for classification, but he told us that if we turned the burglar, he could tell us if we had the right man or not. 4:30 p.m. Frank and I cruised the area the burglar had been working in. We were in constant contact with the other 10 cars in the field.
Figure you're still working this neighborhood, Joe?
Well, we got no choice till we hear otherwise.
Funny about the Blair woman, isn't it?
What?
You know, turning the kid loose. Sure must have put on a show.
Yeah, sure. What time you got?
4:38. Got another hour and a half.
Frank?
Yeah, Joe.
Up ahead there in the corner?
Yeah, brown sweater could be.
All right, let's go.
He sees us making a break through that yard there.
Come on. All right, hold it up there.
He isn't stopping.
What around that garage?
I'll try and head him off.
All right, watch it.
Joe, you see him?
No, we missed him someplace. Better get back to the car.
Right.
I'll call in here.
All right.
Unit 1K80 to Unit 2R1. Unit 1K80 to Unit 2R1. Come in, please.
2R1 to 1K80.
Suspect WMA, 17 to 19 years old, wearing tan trousers and brown and gold sweater, fleeing on foot. Last seen going east on Chalmers Drive at corner of Spalding Avenue. Please block at Chalmers and Hayworth. Repeat, please block at Chalmers and Hayworth.
Roger, 1K80.
Unit 2R7. Come in, please.
Unit 2R7 to 1K80. Go ahead.
You get the description all right?
Yeah.
Want to cover Barrows Drive and Hayes Street? Repeat, Barrows Drive and Hayes Street. Over.
Roger, 1K80.
Units 2R2, 2R3, 2R4, 2R5, and 2R6 converge on area adjacent to Chalmers and Spalding. Repeat, converge on corner of Chalmers and Spalding. Unit 2R20 will direct operations. 1K80 out. It's locked in. Let's fight it. We knew the suspect was in the blockaded area. With the units from Metro Division blocking the street, there was no escape for him. Frank and I walked down Spalding Avenue. Down the street, we could see Unit 2R20 getting into position. Sergeant Masters was directing the operation from there. The search went on. 6:40 p.m. We still hadn't found him. At each house, we notified the people to be on the lookout for the suspect. In the event they saw him, they were instructed to call police headquarters. They, in turn, would contact Sergeant Masters and appropriate action could be taken. 7:10 p.m. We just about covered the entire area.
What do you figure, Joe?
I could have gotten out. Got to be in here someplace.
2 more blocks to go, not much cover.
Figure that he hasn't been sitting still. He's probably been moving, too.
Yeah. How about that garage back there?
Let me check it.
Big place, Joe. Looks like a workshop.
Yeah.
Wonder who it belongs to.
Well, imagine that house over there, don't you? That's where the wires laid. Wait a minute. Here, what's this? Broken padlock.
This must be where he is.
Not easy. Young fella, come on out.
What do you think?
Oh, there's no other door. Come on. All right, come on, boy. Give it up. We know you're in here.
How about the lights, Joe?
Yeah, I got him.
Bigger inside than it looks. Dozen places he could be hiding in.
Yeah, you want to check over there, back of those legs? I'll take this side.
Right. No sign of him over here. How about you?
No. How about that balcony up there? The wooden paint cans, see up there?
Yeah. Somebody could hide up there.
All right, I'll take a look.
Take it easy, Joe.
Yeah. All right, give it up, fella. You got no place to go.
Watch it, Joe. The paint cans.
Let me go.
Frank.
Yeah, Joe, I got it. Get away. Get away.
All right, watch it, Frank.
I see.
Come here, you.
I admit, I didn't mean to cut him. I told you to leave me alone. I told you.
All right, come on, get up, you. How about it, Frank? You all right?
Oh, Joe, just a cut, isn't there?
All right.
Let me go. I didn't mean it. I got scared. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I'll do if my family finds out.
Yeah, sure. You going to tell us about your sister, the one who was sick, and your drunken father?
Huh?
Well, are we going to get the full treatment here, the same one you gave Miss Blair?
She told you, huh?
Yeah, she told us. What's your name, boy?
Akins. Robert Akins. Guess you got me tagged for the jobs, huh?
Yeah, we got you tagged.
Lousy deal. I thought for sure I had her figured. Crummy deal all the way around. Never should have started it. All I got was a lot of cheap jewelry and a little money.
What do you mean, cheap jewelry? Our reports show you got a little better than 80,000.
80,000? That's a laugh. A lot of costume junk, a little money. 80,000. Somebody's been giving you a snow job. When I didn't throw away, I still got cheap costume junk, that's all.
All right, Akins, let's go.
Yeah. Should have known not to trust that Blair woman. Should have known. I was caught before, a couple of times.
All right?
Yeah, a couple of times. They let me go. Started to cry. Gave them that story about my sister. They let me go. It was the crying that really did it, though. As soon as I started to bawl, they turned me loose. Good gimmick, huh, crying?
Yeah, sure. Don't try it on the jury. It won't work.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Robert Charles Aiken was filed on and found guilty of 12 counts of second-degree burglary. He was released to the Youth Authority for parolement and possible rehabilitation.
Ladies and gentlemen, lightning starts a few forest fires every year. But careless people cause many, many more. This shameful waste of one of our greatest natural resources weakens America. This weekend, if you picnic or camp out, please be careful with fire. Be very sure your campfire is really out before you leave it. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Monty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, June Whitley, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery, suspense, and adventure in tonight's transcribed story titled, There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
It took a heap of threatening notes to make Buddy Huckle afraid, and we had plenty of threatening notes in this one. Individual words cut from poems and pasted on plain white paper to create a message of death. If you enjoy poetry, you hate Huckle. And everyone connected with this case enjoyed poetry. Maybe it has something to do with the dictaphone that wound up telling too much and a leggy blonde that told too little. It was 3 p.m. when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the Detective Bureau. Somehow he looked different.
Jeffrey, my boy.
Then I saw he was wearing a flowing black tie.
Listen to this, Jeffrey.
Where's your cape, Fatso?
Listen. Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all...
Poetry? You, Lion?
Well, just because you have no appreciation of the finer things in life, Jeffrey, doesn't mean that
Whose poetry?
Well, mine, of course.
You, the head of a detective agency, writing poetry?
A man who appreciates the beauty of the universe, the richness of living...
What's in it for you?
What do you mean by that snide remark?
What do you get out of writing this poetry?
I reap calm, peace, my boy.
How much money?
Now look here, Jeffrey.
How much?
$10,000 if I win.
Win what?
Well, our new client told me about the contest, my boy. There's a $10,000 prize for the poem, which, in the opinion of the judges...
I thought. Okay, Lion, who's the new client?
Buddy Huckle, the poet, America's Bard Laureate.
What's Hucklebuck's trouble?
No, Buddy Huckle. It seems someone is trying to intimidate him, keep him from creating more poetry.
Where do I find this bard?
At his office.
Office?
Well, he has to work someplace. Now, you get right down to this address and do what you can.
Did he, pay you?
There was a check for $200. Buddy Huckle is solvent.
Well, for an artist, that's suspicious.
You do a good job, my boy, and the Lion Detective Agency might turn up in his memoirs.
If I expected to find Buddy Huckle writing poetry in a hidden nook, I was in for a surprise. His office was on the Miracle Mile, brand new building, all glass and angles and curves. I checked the address the Lion had given me just to make sure. This was it. I squeezed into the Lucite elevator with salesmen, briefcases, secretaries, and a temperature of 110. Up in his office, there was a small desk and a little man behind it, maybe 50, with a pink seamless face and short white hair like popcorn glued to a billiard ball.
May I help you, sir?
You're Buddy Huckle?
Just a moment while I staple these poems.
My name's Regan. I'm from the Lion Detective Bureau.
Oh, yes. Mr. Huckle told me you were coming. Won't you sit down? I purchased that chair from the estate of H.W. Longfellow.
Where is Mr. Huckle?
Just a moment while I...
use the stapler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mr. Huckle now. Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle?
Come in here, Laszlo.
Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle.
Running behind schedule today.
Coming, Mr. Huckle.
The little man grabbed the stack of stapled poems and made for the inner office, his arms and legs working like a crab's. When he disappeared into the inner office, I took a look around. Hung on the wall was a certificate of merit from the Amalgamated Advertising Agencies of America, made out to Buddy Huckle. It read, in gold leaf, "Your poems move merchandise." There was a stack of magazines on Laszlo's desk. I reached for one and was about to open it when Laszlo reappeared from the inner office.
Yeah. Such a busy day.
When can I see the poet?
Oh, soon. Oh, you disturbed my stapler.
I must have done that when I picked up this magazine.
Yes, a wonderful magazine. Mr. Huckle contributes to it regularly.
Uh-huh. Folk stuff.
Yes. Mr. Huckle again. Yes, sir?
Send Regan in, Laszlo.
Yes, Mr. Huckle.
I may go right in.
Why, yes, but don't take too much of Mr. Huckle's time. He's a very busy man.
I found Buddy Huckle seated behind a bluish cast aluminum desk. Very utilitarian.
Utility, Mr. Regan. No frou-frou here.
Buddy Huckle had been handsome, but now he was a gross 40. His overlarge face hung in little white puffs, damp-looking.
Your time, Mr. Regan. You don't get work done sitting in the sun.
Over Huckle's desk hung the motto, "Drive."
Regan, I can give you 3 minutes.
You're paying for it.
Hey, you're Regan, I like you.
Thanks.
You're utilitarian. No frou-frou. No...
What's the matter, Huckle?
Little white box. Desk.
Huckle was dying. His lips gathered blue patches around the edges. His huge head rolled weakly. I opened his desk and found a small white box. Inside there were pills as big as bullets. I shot one into his gaping mouth and he swallowed. In moments, his body firmed and he seemed to have come out of it.
Heart attack, Regan. Nothing. Have them all the time. Drive myself too hard, but that's all right. I've got money.
It makes nice salad.
You've given me a poem.
You use a dictaphone?
Of course. Did you think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and olive ink? Poem. Title. Money Ain't Salad. Money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around. So spend your wealth, but not your health. Live wisely. Take a tip. For money sure ain't salad. It sure won't cure the grip. Signed, Buddy Huckle.
America's Bard Laureate.
Exactly. $100 a line.
Who's giving you trouble, Huckle?
Don't know. Take a look at these.
Poison pen notes.
Nasty business.
Uh-huh. Paste-up letters. No one's handwriting appears, so you couldn't check a typewriter. Very smart.
Yeah, all these words came from my published poem.
Yeah, individual words cut out of the poems, then pasted on a plain piece of white paper so they form a message.
Read that one.
One more poem with a chuckle, and death will take you, Huckle.
Oh, crude poetry. Rank imitation of my product.
And someone's threatening your life.
Trying to scare me into not competing in this year's Hotchkiss Award for time capsule poetry.
Time capsule poetry?
Yeah. The winning poem is placed in a time capsule and buried for posterity by Hotchkiss University. To win means nationwide publicity and, of course, a $10,000 prize.
Yeah, the Lion told me. You have any idea who might want to stop your...
You're creating? No. That's why I'm paying your agency.
Mm-hmm. Who publishes most of your stuff?
I have a contract channeling my efforts into Folk Stuff magazine.
Okay, Huckle. If you need me, call me at Folk Stuff magazine.
Wait, Regan.
Yeah?
Regan, I'm scared.
He was scared. But it didn't stop his reaching for the dictaphone when I left. I'd given him another idea for a poem when I said I was going to check Folk Stuff. The magazine was located out in the acute section of Westwood. The building was 3 stories high and constructed to look like Paul Bunyan. The elevator operator said,
"Howdy, neighbor,"
and took me to the editorial offices. I expected to see old Father William behind the editor-in-chief's desk. But what I found was young, blonde, formed by a strict diet and exercise, dressed by Vogue, and had a voice like a warm night.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
The secretary said I'd find the editor-in-chief in here.
Sit down, Mr. Regan. I'm the editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
My name's Julie. If you're a writer, Mr. Regan, I'll publish you.
Well, that's not what I had in mind.
Then perhaps we might do a manuscript together.
That's nice, but...
I'll just turn on the phonograph. I hope you like American folk music.
Love it.
Get so lonely working up here in Paul Bunyan.
We can be lonely anywhere.
People think me unapproachable. I surprise them.
Sure, lady. Now about Buddy Huckle.
Oh, him.
Come to think of it, maybe I'd rather hear about you. How come?
All this?
Yeah.
Why, I'm in charge of a folksy magazine.
Something like that.
There's money in folks, Mr. Regan. I bought out this magazine when I learned how many folks there were in America.
Oh. Do the folks know about you?
We don't have many folks out here in California. Mostly the sophisticated type, Mr. Regan. The kind that would take advantage of a girl if they were left alone with her.
Uh-huh.
But I see you want to get back to Buddy Huckle.
Yeah, I had that in mind.
What do you want to know?
Do you know anyone around here that would like to see Huckle stop producing poetry?
Practically all of us feel that way.
Or maybe kill him?
We're all of us capable of murder, aren't we, Mr. Regan?
Works that way.
But why do you ask about Buddy Huckle?
Well, he has a contract with your magazine. You publish all his poetry.
There must be some mistake, Mr. Regan. I don't publish a line of his.
I nodded once because of impact. Then I nodded again to say goodbye. I left still nodding to the elevator operator who said...
So long, neighbor.
You know anything about Buddy Huckle?
Just he's doing a big broadcast from an Oklahoma barbecue over Long Beach tonight, neighbor.
I headed for Long Beach to have a long talk with Buddy Huckle. It was beginning to look like a publicity setup. When I arrived, I found the broadcasting studio on the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. Just outside the studio door stood a woman, middle-aged, her hand gripped in her handbag. That old look of murder on her face.
Let go of my arm.
What's in the handbag, lady?
If you think I'm going to say hairpins, you're nuts.
All right, let's take a look.
I got a gun.
I thought maybe...
Let me go!
Looking for someone?
Yeah. That louse Huckle.
You've been sending him love notes you've cut out of magazines?
Who are you?
Regan, private investigator.
Well, I'm not afraid of you.
That's nice.
I was Buddy Huckle's wife, Regan. Now he's cut off my alimony, and I'm going in there to shoot him dead.
A lot of people in there, lady. Witnesses.
Oh. You say you're right.
Thank you.
You talked me out of it.
Goodbye, lady.
Goodbye, mister. And thanks.
The broadcasting room was a regular hotel room that had been wired for sound. There was a character in a padded suit that kept eyeing a clock and rubbing his moist hands on his sleeves. This must have been the producer. Buddy Huckle was seated at a green-top table, his eyes on the papers in front of him. Wasn't quite 10, so I said hello.
Hello, Regan. I'm on the air in 2 minutes.
Oh, that's a lifetime, Huckle. If you had a dictaphone, you could make yourself $1,000 in 2 minutes.
Maybe 500.
You don't look scared.
That. You can forget our little talk this afternoon. While I was dictating this afternoon, the culprit walked in, Mr. Regan. I found out who it was threatening me, sending me the note.
Would you mind telling me who?
Oh, nothing to worry about, nothing at all. I don't know why I was so concerned. Just figure your time and make me a refund on my retainer.
A certified pleasure.
Huh?
Quiet, please. We're ready to cut you in now, Mr. Huckle.
I'm ready, George.
Okay, stand by. You're on the air in a second. Take my cue.
Well, howdy, folks. This is America's Board Laureate, Buddy Huckle, a talking to you. And, folks, I got a swell little old poem for you folks that I hope you're plumb going to like a lot. I kind of like to call it Money Ain't Salad. Goes, they say money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around.
I couldn't take it. I gently made my way around George, the radio producer, to the door and out. It took me a little time to make my way through the crowd down to the street, and I stood there on the sidewalk for a few moments wondering about Buddy Huckle. Maybe Huckle wasn't as safe as he thought. That was his business now. And suddenly, high overhead above the sounds in the street, there was a shattering of glass. Screams from the street as a figure came hurtling toward the pavement. I jumped. Just in time. The body hit the sidewalk. If you looked hard, you could recognize what was left as Buddy Huckle. The final poetic touch was a framed sign that hit right after the body. On the sign was the motto, Drive.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled, There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
A man's body was spread-eagled on a concrete sidewalk. He'd fallen, or been pushed, from the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. The body had belonged to a poet named Buddy Huckle. Very popular guy. His discarded wife had been in the hotel gunning for him, and somebody had been sending Huckle notes threatening his life. Maybe his wife. Well, now he didn't have to worry about the race for popularity. He was dead. Since all concerned were L.A. people, Homicide finally put Sanducci on the case. When Sanducci finished in Long Beach, we drove back to L.A. in his squad car, the hearse following us.
Facts, Regan. Look at the facts.
Facts can lie, Sanducci. What's your theory?
You can't convict on theory. Speed it up, Max. We'll never make L.A.
Okay, what are your facts, Sanducci?
Look, fact 1.
Let me try. Buddy Huckle is dead.
Smart boy.
Fact 2, he fell to his death from 5 stories up.
Right.
His former wife was spotted at the scene of the crime.
And she was gunning for her former husband, Buddy Huckle. You said so yourself, Regan.
Oh. What about George, the radio producer?
He was still in the studio. Didn't see anything. Step on it, Max.
There were no witnesses.
There were 3. They say they saw a woman running away from the scene of the crime.
Oh, you know how witnesses become confused, Sanducci. They may all be wrong.
Said woman became lost in the crowd during the confusion.
Yeah, and you now have an all-points call-out on Buddy Huckle's former wife.
The woman is dangerous, Regan. She's armed.
Well, didn't the witnesses say they saw anything else?
How much you want a witness to see, Regan? Be satisfied.
You know the trouble with facts, Sanducci? You gotta stop when you've got all it'll fit. Where do you place that motto that came down on top of the body?
Give it time. It'll fit.
Yeah, well, it so happens it came from the wall of Buddy Huckle's office.
Look, did you ever hear of planted clues, Regan? The dame is trying to outsmart us. She planted a sign, tried to throw us off.
All right, have it your way, Sanducci. Hurry up, Max. We got to get back to L.A. fast. Hey, why is he slowing down?
Regulations. Max doesn't take orders from anybody but me. All right, step on it, Max.
We arrived in town. The time of night you think you see figures waiting with knives in every puddle of dark. 3 a.m. First, I had to check with the line. I made it to his apartment. There was a wafer of light coming from under his door. I walked in. Lion was sound asleep on the couch. A pencil hanging from his mouth, sheets of scribbled paper on the floor. Come on, Lion, get up.
Hello, public library. It's you, Jeffrey.
Expecting a love bandit?
I must have forgotten to lock the door.
One world and a lock on every door.
As a matter of fact, I was working on my entry for the Hotchkiss Award for Time Bomb Poetry.
Capsule.
Oh, yes. I have another stanza, Jeffrey. Listen. The glory of action, the splendor...
Lion, our client is dead.
Dead? Oh, but that's horrible, my boy. When?
No
How?
time for that. Look, I gotta have your help to find Buddy Huckle's former wife.
Yeah, but I'd planned on spending the rest of the night working on my poem.
Her first name is Mona. That's all we've got. You've got to find her while I check on a dictaphone and a blonde editor.
Oh, a description, Jeffrey.
About 5'10", medium build, brown hair. Last seen in Long Beach wearing a yellow cotton dress, no hat. You're racing the police on this one, Lion. And when you get her, hang on, but be careful. She's wanted for murder. For what I needed, there was only one place to go now. The inner office of the late Buddy Huckle. Dark inside the office. Very. The door to the inner office was locked. None of my keys would work, so I used my shoulder. The door gave, and I was in the inner office. I snapped the lights on. When a man's just dead and you're in his room, you keep looking around for him. And I was alone, and I saw what I wanted, the dictaphone. I played the wax roll that was on the machine.
Signed, the Bard Laureate, Buddy Huckle.
I heard a lot of stuff. Poems, mostly, delivered in his rapid-fire manner. Then I heard myself.
You used a dictaphone? Of course. You think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and mauve ink? Poem. Title. Money Ain't...
I lifted the playback head. For luck, I tried the end of the dictaphone record. This was really good.
The sign comes, the silent thrust of death by the tempered blade. Sharp, sweet sharpness. I refuse to read any more of this tribe.
That didn't sound like Buddy's rhyming cry-pie type of poetry. I played the very end of the record to get the signature, signed Buddy Huckle. But instead I got...
You've made me read this, but I won't sign this lousy poem.
That was the end of the record. Suddenly, without looking up, I knew there was someone standing behind me.
You're Regan.
Mona.
I saw you earlier, now I see you again.
What are you doing here?
I ain't so dumb I don't know the cops are after me.
Well, they probably know you're here right now.
I snuck in.
And you're not going to reach into that purse for your gun again.
I hopped it in an all-night joint.
Well, look, why don't we just sit down quietly and talk, Mona?
Yeah, well, I ain't so dumb I don't know what you're trying to do, mister.
What am I trying to do, Mona?
Well, I just came here to see if maybe Huckle made out an alimony check for me and maybe didn't mail it.
That's what I'm trying to do?
I need all the money I can get now that the cops are hot after me for something I didn't do.
You're sure you didn't push Buddy Huckle through that window, Mona?
I ain't got the strength.
No, guess not.
I need dough to run away from the cops, Mr. Regan. Maybe you could take my case, huh? I got $6 for the gun.
Well, maybe I can help you, Mona. Look, hole up in the Rondo Hotel. Give a fictitious name. The police are liable to check this office.
Gee, you've been real good to me, Mr. Regan. You took my case, and here's my $6.
No thanks. We'll take it up with the Lion later.
The Lion?
Never mind. But find that hotel. I've got to find an editor-in-chief. The phone book gave me Julie's home address. Julie being the editorial brains behind Folk Stuff magazine. It was almost dawn now, but when I rang the doorbell of her swank apartment, I got an immediate response.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
I went in.
You know the police have already come and gone.
Yeah, they get around.
You're expecting to find something they didn't?
Thought maybe.
Drink, Mr. Regan.
Well, it has been a long night.
Say when.
Now.
Rugged individualist. Decided to do that manuscript with me?
Not what I had in mind, lady.
Maybe you'll tell me what you did have in mind.
You were closer to Buddy Huckle than most people know.
Just so.
Huckle had a reputation as a poet. He set you up as editor of Folk Stuff magazine. But you were pretty rich, even for his blood.
You know, you're wrong, Mr. Regan.
I am?
But it makes a good story. More?
Why don't you try? Maybe it'll make more sense.
The magazine Folk Stuff does belong to me, Mr. Regan. No strings. Although Huckle did like to spend money on women, I wasn't one of them.
Sounds good. Go on.
Buddy Huckle had a reputation that helped sell my magazine. There was only one thing. He couldn't write poetry.
Oh. So when you told me that Huckle didn't write a line that went into Folk Stuff, you weren't lying. Huh?
Even I couldn't stand his poetry. I made little changes here and there in every line. It gave me a sense of accomplishment. He didn't seem to mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, lady, I guess that's all here.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Lonely Julie grabbed my lapels, held me tight, and kissed me, but I managed to break away. After a while, I had to leave in the line of duty. And the man I had to see was the one that had last seen Buddy Huckle alive. George, the radio producer. I reached him at his home.
Mr. Regan.
You produced Buddy Huckle's broadcast at the Ocean Stone Hotel last night.
Lousy show, no fire.
Yeah, but you were the last man to see Buddy Huckle alive.
No, there must have been somebody else.
You followed Huckle out into the hallway after the lied to the police. You must have seen something. What?
I stayed in the studio.
Oh, George, open up.
Ow! I don't want to get mixed up in it.
Oh,
let me alone. Now. All right. I got a police record back in Shy, Regan. You won't...
No deals. But make it the truth.
Okay. It was just I didn't want to get mixed up in no killing.
What'd you see?
I followed the star out of the studio like I always do to tell him it was a great show.
Yeah?
Only when I opened the door, I saw this little guy pop out of the crowd and plant his two hands against the star.
Buddy Huckle.
Yeah, and push him through the window.
Thanks, George. That's all I need.
I tried to step back before I saw it happen. I got a record, Regan.
Sure. Try not to worry, George. Everything may turn out all right. The little man, George, had seen push Huckle out of the window, could be Laszlo, Huckle's secretary. I checked all morning trying to find Laszlo, but he'd disappeared from the face of the earth. Then I got to thinking what kind of a guy Laszlo appeared to be. A thinker. Now, where would a thinker type go to hide if he was afraid of something? Someplace familiar to give him a sense of security, yet off the beaten path. It hit me. Sure. The public library. And that's where I found him. 2 flights below street level in the last reference room. Laszlo. His round popcorn white head was bent over a book. Hanging above his head was the public library sign, Silence.
It's you again.
Come with me, Laszlo.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Stop poking your pocket at me, Laszlo.
It's a dueling pistol. It belonged to Edgar Allan Poe, and it'll fire again in righteous cause.
Yeah, sure. Now listen, Laszlo. I know you finally blew your top about Huckle's poetry. You sent him those pasted notes threatening his life to keep him from writing any more.
He dictated his poetry.
It's all over, Laszlo.
No. You can't prove anything.
You were seen pushing Huckle to his death.
Oh. But I just couldn't stand it any longer. Today, after you left, I held this dueling pistol to his head and made him dictate one of my poems for spite. And then I resigned.
Go on.
He put money ahead of art. With his reputation, he was going to win the Hotchkiss Prize without their even looking at his work, while my poetry would go begging. You realize that I am one of only 4 men in the world who really understands Gertrude Stein?
Go on, Laszlo.
I didn't want to hurt him. Just frighten him into ceasing to write poetry.
You followed him to the broadcast last night.
Yes, it was the last resort. I was going to interrupt the broadcast. Tell the world he was an imposter, not a poet.
Yeah, but you have the motto from his wall with you.
Yes, positive proof of his inartistic approach. His motto was drive. But I couldn't go through with it. I was leaving when...
You saw Huckle leave the scene of his latest triumph, the broadcasting studio. This was too much. You killed him.
I was blind with rage.
In pushing Huckle, you dropped the motto out of the window, huh?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember. It all happened so fast.
Let's forget the dueling pistol, Laszlo. Just come along quietly.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Hand that gun over, Laszlo.
No, stand back.
The dueling pistol went off in his hand. The bullet cracked the ceiling. I grabbed the gun away from Laszlo. He didn't put up much of a fight. And then I led him from the library as quietly as possible. Tanducci, down at Homicide, felt as sorry for Laszlo as I did. But now Laszlo should have plenty of time to write poetry and not worry about selling it. State will take care of him. George, the radio producer, got a dressing down for withholding information, and I called Mona to tell her she was no longer under suspicion. And that wrote the end. It was high noon when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the bureau. He was reciting.
Oh, yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision.
You still can enter the poetry contest, Fatso?
Of course, my boy. The 10,000's as good as mine. I've just completed my work of art.
Okay. How does it go?
Oh, it's classic, Jeffrey. Yeah. Reminiscent of ancient Sanskrit poetry. In translation, of course.
Well, I've had a hard night, but I'd like to hear it.
Well, you've heard most of it. I'll just give you the ending.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
And tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness.
Ah, that's real fine.
Oh, yes. And every tomorrow a vision of hope. Why are you walking around?
Oh, just looking, Lion.
Now, you just sit still while I finish. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn.
Aha! What's this in your wastebasket?
Nothing, Jeffrey.
A library book.
Give me that.
Oh, no.
The cleaning woman must have dropped it there.
What title of the book? Great Poems by Unknown Poets.
Yeah. Well, since nobody claims them, Jeffrey, it would be a shame to see them go to waste.
Jack Webb, Investigator is written by William Frug and Gilbert Thomas, produced and transcribed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. You've just rounded up a vicious gang of thieves. The heavy man is still at large. Your job? Get him. Hello, this is George Fenneman. I want to talk to you about the cigarette that's really on the move. The one everyone's talking about and trying. Chesterfield. First cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield King Size is exactly the same quality and exactly the same blend of tobacco as Chesterfield regular size. There's absolutely no difference, except that king size Chesterfield is larger, contains considerably more of the same tobaccos. So much more it gives you a 21% longer smoke, yet costs very little more. And Chesterfield King Size contains better tobaccos and is of higher quality than any other king-size cigarette. So, sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king-size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, March 6th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 2:46 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery. Frank?
Yeah, Joe.
How about those subpoenas?
Took them down to the warrant office. They're going to serve them.
Oh, fine. All the follow-ups made, packages in order. That about wraps it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, all but Bentley.
Yeah, nothing from Mac yet.
No, he said he'd call as soon as he heard anything.
Yeah, be happy when we get him, won't you? He's probably the worst of the lot.
Yeah. Well, according to what Mac said, he's in real trouble now. Broke. None of his friends will have anything to do with him. We'll turn him.
I don't think I'll ever understand a guy like Bentley. What makes a man want to beat somebody just for the sake of beating him?
Figure that we'll have it made.
32 robberies, and just about every one Bentley's got to work over at least one of the victims. It's pretty vicious.
Now we get him this time he's through. Probably knows it, too. Even when Mac blows the whistle, probably going to be rough to take, though. Joe, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm happy it's over. Let's face it, we were lucky on this one. The guys were gun happy. Taking any longer to get him, they'd have killed somebody, sure.
Maybe so.
Boy, my next day off, I'm going to do nothing but sit, not make a move. My feet are killing me.
Yeah, we had a lot of leg work on this one.
Not just this one, Joe, all of them. I was reading in the magazine the other day about a new kind of arch support. I got to get me a pair of them.
Yeah?
According to the ad, these are going to be just a ticket. Some new kind of rubber, soft when they mold it to your feet. Place back in Wisconsin.
How'd they do it? They got a place here in L.A.?
No, just a home office. Just a small place, I guess. According to the ad, the whole process pretty new.
Yeah, well, how do you get this? What is it, a mold?
Yeah. You stand on a piece of paper, hold a bucket of water in each hand. You put all your weight on your feet.
Yeah.
And you draw the outline of your foot on the paper. They make the arch thing up from there.
Well, if you're holding a bucket of water in each hand, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you use the pencil?
What?
Well, a bucket of water in each hand, how are you going to draw?
Yeah.
I get it. Robbery Friday. Oh, hi, F.A. Yeah, he's here. Oh, how are the kids? Oh, yeah, sure, I'll put him right on. Frank, for you. Your wife seems upset.
Thanks, Joe. Hello, honey. Yeah? I can, but what's up? Well, can't you tell me now? Well, why not? All right, honey, I'll be right there. Don't worry now. Goodbye.
What's the matter? Something wrong?
I don't know. Faye wants me to come right home. Says something's going on.
Couldn't she tell you about it on the phone?
No, said something about the phone being tapped.
We went down to the carpool and started over for Frank's house. For the past 3 months, we'd been working on a case involving a gang that had been operating in the city. During that time, they'd committed 32 armed robberies, and in most instances, they'd beaten their victims for no apparent reason. Their ruthless attitude was the most outstanding single point of their M.O. We'd successfully rounded up all members of the gang with one exception, Leroy Bentley, alias the Bull. Bentley was the known heavy man of the gang. In order to successfully prosecute and apprehend any criminal or criminals, the police officer requires the fullest measure of cooperation and assistance that he can obtain from many people. The private citizen and his own associates as well. From the ranks of the private citizen comes one important aid, the informant. The working detective knows that in many cases his most valuable assistance can often come from his informant. In this particular case, we'd received information that would lead us to Bull Bentley within a matter of days. 3:22 p.m. We arrived at Frank's home.
I'm glad you're home, honey. I'm awfully worried. Oh, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
What's the trouble now? What's this all about, this phone being tapped?
Well, that's what he said.
Who?
The man who called.
All right, now, honey, can you tell me what this is all about?
I got a phone call just before I called you. It was a man. Said his name was Bull Bensler or Bentley. I didn't get it. He said that you thought you were a smart cop, but if you didn't lay off him, he was going to take care of you where it hurt the most. He threatened the children and me, too. Well, Frank, I don't know what to do.
Go on.
He said the phone was tapped and we were being watched. Said to tell you he wasn't kidding. He didn't have anything to lose. He sounded real mean. I'm frightened. Do you know this man, Frank?
Oh, he is, yeah. We have a warrant for his arrest.
Say, where are the kids?
Well, Stacy's in her room playing. I called the school for Mike. The teacher said she dismissed the class. He should be home by now. Frank, I don't know. I'm worried about him.
All right, lock the doors. Don't open for anybody. Joe and I will go out and see if we can find Mike.
All right, I'm worried sick about him. He should have been home 20 minutes ago.
I'll go and call the captain, Frank. Ask him to send a couple of men out, huh?
Thanks, Joe.
Don't worry about it, Trey. 2511, please. Yeah, Robert. Hello, Glenn. Captain there? There's Friday. I'd like to talk to him. Skipper, this Friday, I'm out at Frank's house. Frank Smith, yeah. Bull Bentley called his wife, threatened her and the kids if he didn't lay off. No, said if he didn't lay off. Well, could you send a couple of men out to stand by? Fine. Mike isn't home from school yet, and Mike's his little boy. Frank and I are going out to look for him. Yeah, I said he'd be watching the house. Who? Yeah, swell. All right, we'll be in as soon as we find the boy. Right, Skipper. Oh, O'Donnell and Stewart from the office will be out, Faye. They'll park the car down the street. Watch for him and let him in, won't you?
All right, Joe. What about it, Frank? You going to lay off this guy?
You want me to?
Please find little Mike.
All right, honey. We'll find him. Well, lock the door and don't open it for anyone but O'Donnell and Stewart when they get here.
All right, dear.
Now, don't worry, huh, honey? We'll find him.
Yeah.
Let's go. Joe, what do you think?
I don't know.
Tell you one thing.
Yeah?
I'm scared.
There are two types of criminals that can be counted on to be dangerous. The youngster who becomes easily panicked at the scene of a crime, and the older criminal who will do anything rather than go back to the penitentiary. Bull Bentley was one of these. We knew that he was more than capable of carrying out his threat. His record was one of armed robbery, vicious beatings, and kidnapping. At this particular time, he was wanted for murder in the state of Colorado. The average criminal will blame anyone but himself for his predicament, usually the police officer, and this was so in Bentley's case. He apparently thought that by getting us off his trail, he could go free. Frank and I searched the area around the house. We found his little boy in a vacant lot 2 blocks from school playing with a group of youngsters. We put him in the car and returned him to his home. Stewart and O'Donnell were at Frank's house and said they'd stay there until they were relieved. 4:36 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
Smith, Friday, in here.
Right.
Come on in. Find the boy?
Yeah, Skipper, out playing with some of the kids in the neighborhood.
All right. Now, what's this all about?
Well, this bunch we just cleaned up?
Yeah.
Bull Bentley called Frank's wife and told her that if Frank didn't lay off of him, he was going to get to him through his family.
What do you plan to do?
Well, no choice. Get him before he can do anything, I guess.
Frank? Yes, Skip. You like to be taken off this assignment? No, it's a personal matter. It's up to you. We'll see that your house is covered when you're not home. You keeping the boy away from school? Yeah, Captain, until this thing's over. You got any ideas where you can pick Bentley up?
Well, we've covered all the places he's known to hang out.
Want any help? No, not right now. Just find him fast. Well, you know he's in town. Figure he's going to stay here? Well, we don't think he's got much choice. We figure he's broke, he's hot. None of his friends will take a chance on putting him up. He's going to need money. Better cover the bus depots, train depots, alert the airport detail. Get a couple of 100 mugs printed up on him. Distribute them to the beat men and radio cars. Contact Captain Hamilton, intelligence. He might be able to come up with something.
Our informant said he could turn Bentley for us in a week.
A week's a long time, Joe.
I know.
You've covered all his hangouts.
All of them. Nobody's seen him in a couple of days. Just seemed to drop out of sight.
Big town, a lot of people. Sometimes you don't realize how big till you start looking for one man.
Yeah.
Want to get in touch with the boys in the press room, give them the story, see if they'll carry Bull's picture. See Jack Ricketts, he'll put the picture on suspects wanted. We'll get started on it right now. You got a silent number, haven't you, Frank? Yeah, it's unlisted. How'd Bentley get it? It had to come from somewhere. Joe and I were talking about that. You know pretty much who we'd give the numbers out to. About the only one we can figure that'd be in a position to give it to Bentley is Harry McLeod. Your informant? Yeah. How long since you've heard from this McLeod?
A couple of days.
Figure maybe he'd cross you, throw in with Bentley?
Well, it's possible. I don't think so, though. He's leveled with us so far.
The number had to come from someplace.
Yeah, well, it sure makes it look like McLeod, doesn't it?
I don't think Mac would give the number away on his own. Bull could get it. We got 32 people to prove it.
Well, we better get on this thing. Come on, Frank.
Right. Check you later, Skipper. Joe, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, don't worry. We'll get to him.
I mean, this two-bit thief calling Faye, threatening her.
Try to take it easy. I know how you feel.
Why me, Joe? Bull Bentley's brushed up against 100 different cops in his day. Why me?
Law of averages, I guess. You were handy.
I knew just what to do.
Well, Skipper gave you a choice. If you'd like to go home, nobody'd blame you.
You don't know what it is, Joe. You don't have a family. Something like this can split you in two. Half of you wants to be on the job. The other half is pulling you toward home. Joe, if that cheap punk steps to my front porch, I'm going to lean on him hard.
Now, look, Frank, this isn't going to get us anyplace. Let's get over to the photo lab and get this thing moving, huh?
I could just figure it. 4,000 guys in the department, and Bentley has to pick me. Joe, why me?
All right, look, Frank. I could try to spell it for you 100 ways, and we still wouldn't come out with any kind of a total. I know what you must be going through, and I'm sorry it's got to be you. I'm sorry it has to be any cop. You're right about me not having a family, but it's squeezing me just as hard as it is you. You and I both knew when we filled out those application blanks what we were taking on. The job, Frank. Maybe I never told you before. Maybe you've been through this, too. I don't know. There isn't a day goes by that I'm on the job here that I don't run into something that breaks my heart. Why did Ed Wilson have to get shot down when he and his partner tried to take that guy out of that rooming house over on 8th Street? Why did Olson and his partner have to end up in the P&F ward last week? Why do you have to run the gamut of every human emotion class of people on Earth? Poor to rich, it's all the same. Somebody picks up a gun to knock over the corner gas station, everything hangs in the balance. The minute that thief slips a cartridge into his gun, the gas station attendant, his family, his kids, and every relative he's got slides right onto the short end. Everybody seems to think that wherever crime is concerned, they never get any closer to it than the front page of the morning paper. I know you You know this, Frank. For every attempted crime, God only knows how many innocent people are thrown into the balance even before the crime's been committed. That's the way it is, Frank. I'm not trying to tell you anything you don't know, but the minute you passed that exam, you had to make book that something like this could contaminate you just as surely as if you weren't a cop. I guess it's almost a legacy. Nobody's found a vaccine for crime. Nobody's immune. And it's worse with you and me because we know better than to think we can't be touched. We know we can. We invite it every time we roll on a call, every time we pick somebody up, every time a guy gets out of line. It's a job, Frank. I didn't mean to give you an academy lecture, but if it's any comfort, I'm with you. I know just how you feel, and so do 4,000 other guys right down here.
Yeah. I guess maybe we better get moving, huh?
Yeah, come on. We took the mug shot of Bentley to the photo lab and asked them to run off 200 copies. We checked with the reporters in the press room, and they promised us full cooperation. Jack Ricketts told us that he'd put the picture on the air the next day. Frank called home and found that there'd been no further calls from Bentley. 6:17 p.m. We started to look for Harry McLeod, our informant. We checked his hotel, but the clerk told us he hadn't been in all afternoon. We started checking his known hangout. In fear of burning McLeod, we were unable to ask for him by name, which made it necessary for us to canvass each individual place. 9:28 p.m. We located McLeod in a small bar that was known to be frequented by thieves. We walked over to the bar and sat down next to him. We ordered a drink. At the first opportunity, without arousing suspicion, we told McLeod we wanted to talk to him and that we'd meet him down the street, 2 blocks west. We left the bar, got in the car, and drove to the meeting place. 20 minutes later, McLeod arrived, got in the back seat, and we drove away.
Want to get the radio, Joe?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you guys? I told you I'd get in touch with you and I had something for you. You trying to get me burned?
Take it easy, Mac. Just a couple of things we want to know.
Well, I'm on your side. You guys know that. I've always leveled with you, haven't I?
Yeah.
Well, then what's this bit? You walk into that joint, you know what goes on in there, and you pull me out. Good chance somebody could have seen you, you know.
Yeah, we know, Mac. Have you seen Bentley?
No, I told you I'd let you know when I turned him.
Now, don't snow us, Mac. This is important. Have you seen him?
If I saw him, I'd have called you. You know that, don't you? I'd have called you guys. I told you once I'd finger him for you. I haven't called. I haven't seen him. It's that simple. What's the big rush about getting Bentley, anyway? He ain't going nowhere.
Now, look, Mac, we got a personal interest in this thing. This isn't just robbery. Bull's been calling Frank's wife, saying he was going to kill her and the kid. You know he'd do it. Now, how about it?
I didn't know it was like that. Bull's mean enough to do it,
Well, that's how it is. Now, I'll ask you once more. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
When?
Day before yesterday, Sunday morning. Saw him down Marty's.
How come you didn't call us?
I couldn't, honest, I couldn't. He came in and asked me for some dough. I told him I didn't have any. I tried to stall him till I could get to a phone.
Yeah?
Didn't work. He wouldn't wait. Got mad when I couldn't help him out.
You say anything about a meet?
Just said he'd get in touch with me.
Yeah.
He was real sore when I couldn't let him have any dough, but I told him, I said, look, Bull, you know I want to help, but I just haven't got it. That's what I said.
Yeah?
Wasn't kidding either. Things been pretty rough. Say, you guys couldn't see your way clear, could you? Sawbuck, you tied me over, huh?
Well, you got me at the wrong time, Mac. I'm tapped.
How about you, Smith, huh?
Well, if you gotta have it, I got $10 I've been saving for a pair of shoes.
Yeah, I sure appreciate it. You guys know that.
Yeah, we know. You got any idea how Bull might have gotten Frank's home phone?
No, not the slightest.
You sure you didn't give it to him?
Joe, you've known me for a lot of years. Would I do a thing like that after the way you guys treated me?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out, Mac.
I should get a little insulted at that. You guys figuring out about
Oh, now,
me.
come off it, Mac. Did you give him the number?
No, I swear to you I didn't.
All right. You got any ideas where Bull might be hiding?
Not in particular. Check usual places?
Yeah, we looked through them all.
And you know as much as I do. He did say he looked me up in a couple of days.
You see where he was going when he left you?
No, just walked out of Marty's. I saw a friend of his yesterday, though.
Yeah.
The guy said he'd seen Bull Sunday night.
Say what he wanted?
Money. Said he'd try to tap him for some dough to get out of town.
His friend help him?
He didn't give him any money. He gave him something else, though.
Yeah.
He gave him a gun.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Just as Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to tell you what it's made of. Yes, Chesterfield names all its ingredients, so you'll know what gives you the best possible smoke. The world's best tobaccos, pre-tested by laboratory instruments for the most desirable smoking qualities. Pure, costly moistening agents, costly glycerol, and pure sugars which are natural to tobacco. And cigarette paper of the highest purity, the best that money can buy. That's what's in your Chesterfield. Ingredients that give you the best possible smoke. Much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste, and, as confirmed by a well-known research organization, no unpleasant aftertaste. So sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like them,
regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
Before we left Mac, he furnished us with the name of the man who'd given the gun to Bull Bentley. We recognized the name Dave Slater as a small-time hoodlum who'd do anything to make $1 as long as he himself was reasonably safe in doing it. Mac told us of several places where we might find him. The most likely place was a pool room on North Main Street. Slater had numerous arrests, most of them for being drunk and for acting as a lookout for gambling games. He was a type of thief that can be found in every large city, always on the fringe of criminal operations, but never directly involved in the crime itself. We checked several of the places Mac told us about, but we couldn't come up with Slater. We checked the pool room. The manager was evasive and at first appeared reluctant to talk. We informed him that we knew Slater would be back and that we'd wait for him. The manager asked us to come to the back room with him. He told us that Slater had said that he was going down to the all-night hamburger stand on the corner to get something to eat. We found Slater sitting at the counter.
Call it a string of hamburger, all I can see is a bun. I'd be ashamed to sell a thing like this lousy deal, 35 cents for nothing.
Slater?
Yeah, well, something you want?
Police officer, Slater. We want to talk to you.
What about?
Bull Bentley.
Bentley? Never heard of him.
We got information you do know him pretty well.
Yeah? You tell your pigeon he's lying. I never heard of the guy. Now, let me finish eating.
We want to talk to you, Slater. You want to make it here, or would you rather go downtown?
Can't you see I'm eating? Now, let me finish. I got nothing to tell you. I don't know any Bull Bentley. Now, lay off, huh?
Come on, you can think better than an empty stomach, Slater. Let's go.
Frank and I took Slater out of the restaurant and put him in the car. Once he was in custody, his attitude changed completely. He said he wanted to help us, but that he didn't know Bull Bentley. 10:44. We got back to the city hall.
I want to stop by the office, Joe. Call home.
All right, I'll be in the interrogation room. You tell us, Skipper.
Yeah.
In here, Slater.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Sure. Look, I told you I want to help you guys out, but honest, I don't know anything. If I did, I'd let you know.
All right, come off it, Slater. Where's Bentley?
Look, I keep telling you, I don't know any Bentley.
Where are you living now?
Solly Hotel, West Fifth.
How long you been there?
A couple of days.
You working now?
Yeah, a little. Odd job now and then. You know, nothing steady.
What do you call an odd job, Slater?
Oh, you know, sweep out the pool room, rack the balls for him.
Yeah, sure. Now, look, we've known you for 8 years. You never worked a day in that time. Now, how about Bentley? We got a personal interest in him. We want him. We want him bad.
Look, I tell you, I don't know any Bentley.
Anything new?
Yeah, Joe, he called a couple more times tonight. Last time at 10:30, scared Fay half to death.
Yeah.
Said he knew Mike was home. He knew we were looking for him. Said if we don't stop, it'll get to the kids. Said it didn't matter how many cops we had around the house, he'd get to him. Fay's almost hysterical. O'Donnell called the doctor.
Yeah.
How about Slater? He come up with anything?
No, still says he doesn't know him.
Doesn't know him, huh? Listen, Punk, let's you and me get straightened out. What happens to me is one thing. What happens to my family's another. They don't pay me enough money to jeopardize my family. Now, you get this straight. When punks like you and your trigger-happy friends can threaten my family, then something's got to give, and it's not going to be me.
Yeah, but I told you.
Look, wipe that silly grin off your face, Slater. You feel nice and safe there, don't you? You know, as long as you're in custody, we got to take care of you. Well, maybe you'd like to know that if I have to, I'll take this badge off and walk up one side of you and down the other. Now, I want to know where Bentley is, and I want to know now. We're not stumbling around in the dark. We know you gave him a gun. Let me tell you this, mister. Mark it down. If anything happens to my wife or my kids, you can't run fast enough to get away, because I'll nail you hard.
All right, Frank.
He's getting pretty tough, isn't he?
Just telling you how you stand. Now, come on. Where's Bentley?
I told you, I don't know Bentley.
All right. Let's get everything out of your pockets. Get it on the table.
Well, there's nothing much. Here, change, keys, and a nail file, address book, my handkerchief, comb, wallet, here's cigarettes, and matches. That's all.
You want to shake him down, Frank?
Yeah.
I told you that's all. Now, what are you looking for?
Now, push your luck, Slater. It's clean, Joe.
How much money you got in your wallet?
I don't know, double sawbuck, maybe?
The funny thing, you guys never work, but you always got money. All right, take the money out and count it, Slater.
Why? What's that going to prove?
Take it out and count it.
All right. 10, 20, 25, 26, 27, 37, another 5. $42. I didn't know I had that much.
All right. Put the money in your pocket.
That all the money in your wallet?
Yeah, that's it.
Let's see the wallet.
Here. Nothing in it. A couple of cards, that's all.
Yeah. Let's see here. A couple of pawn tickets. Picture. Who's the girl?
Babe I met in Dago. You don't know her. She's not in the rackets. Married now. I haven't seen her in a year.
Then why are you carrying her picture?
Always kind of liked her. She had class. Real nice broad.
You said you didn't know Bull Bentley?
That's what I said.
How about Leroy Bentley?
Nah.
You know anybody at all named Bentley?
Look, I told you I don't know any Bentley. How many times do I have to tell you?
You know anybody by the name of Bull?
I don't know anybody named Bull. I don't know anybody named Bentley.
Yeah. Take a look, Joe.
Now, maybe you can explain this then.
Yeah, what's that?
Bar tab in your wallet. Name Bull written on it. How about it, Slater? Who's Bull?
I don't remember that. Probably something I picked up a long time ago. I don't remember it.
Tab's dated March 4th. Day before yesterday. Your memory must be getting pretty bad, huh?
I got nothing to say.
Well, Frank, you want to check the business office and see who this number is listed to?
Yeah, Joe, right away.
All right, fine. I'm going to tell you something, boy. This is a rotten deal. The law protects people like you. You're lying. We know it, and you know it, too. You know Bentley. You know where he is. What's more, we know you gave him a gun Sunday night, the same date on that tab. I'll tell you what we're going to do, Slater. You're a real wise guy. You talk fast. We're going to get Bull. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but we'll get him. And when we do, we're going to tell him that you blew the whistle on him. We're going to put him in the same cell with you. I'd like to hear you talk your way out of that.
Well, you wouldn't do that.
Don't make book on it.
Look, he's a mean guy. He'll kill me.
Thought you didn't know him.
All right, so I know. But you wouldn't do that. Would you put me in with him?
Where is he, Slater?
You going to tell him I turned him in?
We're making no deals. Where is he?
I don't know where he is now.
You know where he'll be?
Yeah, I was supposed to meet him there tonight at the bar down on West 7th. He's got a friend works there, feeds him.
He'll be there tonight, huh?
Yeah, I said if I'd meet him, he'd pay me for the gun, $75.
What kind of gun is it?
A 38. A good one, too. Worth more than $75, but I needed the money.
Where'd you get the gun?
Well, you'll find out anyway. I might as well tell you. Found the car, found it under the seat. I found out later it belonged to a guy in the Vice Squad. Probably real sore about it.
Could be, Joe. Bar on West 7th, a place called the Hamilton Inn.
Yeah, that's it. He'll be there.
All right, Slater, let's go.
Well, where are you taking me?
You're going to jail.
No, you can't win. Should have known you. Hey, do me a favor, huh?
What's that?
Talk to the jailer, make him give me a cell by myself.
We handcuffed Slater to a chair in the robbery office until we got back to book him. 12:32 a.m. Frank and I left the city hall for the Hamilton Inn on West 7th Street. Slater had told us that he was to meet Bull Bentley between 1 and 1:30. When we got there were a half a dozen people in the place. We checked the bar and the men's restroom, but Bentley wasn't around. We went back to the car, drove down the street to a closed service station, and parked where we could keep both doors of the restaurant under surveillance. 12:50, 1 a.m., 1:15. We waited. 1:35.
Joe, that him?
I don't know. It might be. Let's take a look. All right, you want to take the side door? I'll try the front.
Right.
All right.
I don't see him, Joe.
Wait a minute. That him? Going in the phone booth back there?
Yeah.
Come on. I'll get him. Bentley.
Yeah?
Watch it, Joe! Yeah. Watch it, Frank.
All right, Frank.
I'll shake him down.
Who told you? Who blew the whistle? That bum McLeod. It was him. He was the only one who knew.
He give you my telephone number?
Yeah, he did. And he runs to you and cops out. Should have known better. I give him $20 for it.
Oh, that figures.
What do you mean?
We gave him 10 not to.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 12th, the hearing was held in the district attorney's office. In a moment, the results of that hearing.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I'd like to talk to you about something that's important to every one of you. Now, for the first time, you can get a premium quality cigarette in either regular or king size. Of course, that's Chesterfield. Both regular and king size Chesterfields are made of the proven ingredients that give you the best possible smoke. Both are much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste and no unpleasant aftertaste. Yes, there's no difference between the two, except king-size Chesterfield is larger, contains so much more of the same tobaccos, it gives you a 21% longer smoke, yet it costs very little more. So remember, either way you like them, regular or king-size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
Leroy W. Bentley was released to the Colorado authorities for prosecution on a charge of murder. A hold was placed on him for the state of California in the event he is paroled. He was convicted and is now serving a life sentence in the Colorado State Penitentiary without possibility of parole. Although David R. Slater was guilty of aiding and abetting a felony, a complaint could not be issued due to the fact it could not be proved that Slater knew Bentley was an ex-convict when he gave him the gun. He was filed on for petty theft in Division 7. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 90 days in the county jail. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, June Whitley, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
These great programs sound off for Chesterfield. Radio, Dragnet, the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis Show, and every weekday Arthur Godfrey time. On television, Dragnet, Gangbusters, Arthur Godfrey and his friends, and the Perry Como Show.
Tomorrow, you'll want to sound off for Chesterfield, because either way you like them, regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
The story of Dr. Kildare.
Whatsoever house I enter, there will I go for the benefit of the sick. And whatsoever things I see or hear concerning the life of men, I will keep silence thereon, counting such things to be held as sacred trust. I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my...
The story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer brought you those famous motion pictures. Now this exciting, heartwarming series is heard on radio. In just a moment, the story of Dr. Kildare. But first, your announcer. Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Parker said you wanted to see me, Dr. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were alone.
It's all right, Jim. Come in. Mr. Sarvo, this is Dr. Kildare.
Dr. Kildare? How do you do, sir?
Jimmy, Mr. Sarvo has presented me with a problem, and I wanted you here as a witness.
Oh?
Mr. Sarvo wants me to examine a man and treat him, but he wants me to do it without knowing the identity of the patient.
Nobody can know his identity. That is imperative. It's also highly unusual, Mr. Sarvo. I assure you it is necessary.
It's also necessary that I protect Blair Hospital.
I don't understand. Oh, that should be rather simple to understand, Mr. Sarvo. For all Dr. Gillespie knows, you may be asking him to treat a criminal or something, a man wanted by the law. No, I give you my word. The man you will treat is not a criminal. Quite the contrary.
Well, then why can't you tell me who he is?
Dr. Gillespie, I can't even give you a reason.
All I can say is that I hope someday I may be able to explain it to you.
Oh, there's one thing we're entitled to know. You didn't choose Blair Hospital and Dr. Gillespie out of thin air for this case.
The choice was made after extensive inquiry. Dr. Gillespie is reputed to be the finest internist available.
How do you know your patient needs an internist?
Because of the symptoms. Severe abdominal pain, general malaise, insomnia. Doctor, it is my understanding that you cannot refuse to treat a patient simply because you do not know his identity.
Oh, just a moment, Mr. Sarvo. Dr. Gillespie hasn't refused treatment.
Then there's nothing further to discuss, is there? I will reserve 2 rooms here at the hospital for tomorrow morning. I'll occupy one of them so that I may be close at hand. And your patient will be admitted to the other under the name of John Smith.
John Smith. All right. Bring him in the morning and we'll have a look at him.
Thank you, gentlemen. I wish I could tell you what a tremendous trust is being placed in your hands.
Oh, just a moment, Mr. Sarvo. Dr. Gillespie, according to the symptoms, we probably should run a GI series. Huh? Patient might as well be prepared for it anyway when he comes in, huh?
Yes, of course, Jimmy, that's right. See that your John Smith takes no food or liquid of any kind after midnight tonight. Have him here and ready for examination at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Any request you make will be granted, Doctor.
Yeah. Any request will be granted, Doctor, except telling us who the patient really is.
Someday, frustration of your curiosity will give you an ulcer.
Oh, is that so? When did I ever go around sticking my nose into other people's business?
What was that noise?
I'll bet I know. Since when have you taken over the janitor's job? You were listening at the keyhole. That's what you were doing.
Oh, I was not.
No, you were so. You're just busting to find out who John Smith is.
Why,
go on. Go back to your work and stop meddling.
Well, you don't have to go hollering just because I'm interested in my job, you know.
Women. Did you ever see anybody so nosy in all your life, Jimmy?
That's a delicate question.
Oh, if a man wants to call himself John Smith, it's nobody's business but his own.
Oh, I quite agree.
Who the devil can he be picking such a silly name like that?
Oh, we may find out in the morning while we're finding out what's wrong with him. Now, don't be nervous, Mr. Smith. Fluoroscope can't harm you.
Oh, it just makes it possible for us to see how you're functioning organically.
I quite understand. I won't be a difficult patient.
Oh, I'm sure you won't. Heart looks all right. Move the viewing plate down, Jimmy.
Okay. Get a look at the, Look at this, Dr. Gillespie.
I see it. In the pyloric region.
Have you had difficulty retaining food lately, Mr. Smith?
Yes. Sometimes I suffer from extreme nausea.
Better get a better look at that, Jimmy. Parker, where's the barium mixture?
Right here, Dr. Gillespie.
Give it to Dr. Kildare.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Smith, I want you to take this glass in your left hand. Got it?
Yes.
Now, this is barium. It's a metallic liquid. Harmless, but it shows up well in the fluoroscope and X-ray. We can trace its course through your digestive tract. I want you to start by taking just one large swallow.
All right, Doctor.
That's good, good. Now, just hold the glass. I want you to drink the rest of it in a minute.
Use a little hand pressure, Jimmy.
All right.
Force it around the pyloric region.
Let me know if this causes you any discomfort, Mr. Smith. See it clearly now?
Yeah, very clearly.
All right, Mr. Smith, drink the rest of the mixture. Take it all down quickly as possible, please. Now, I'll tilt the backboard into table position. I want you to climb up on it and lie down on your stomach. That's it. Now, lie on your right side of your face. Arms above your head, please.
I'll move the viewplate, Jimmy.
Thanks.
Hey, there it is. That's the spot.
Yes. All right, Parker, turn off the fluoroscope, put on the lights.
You just stay in that same position for a few minutes, Mr. Smith.
All right.
Want me to call the X-ray technician?
Yeah. Tell them to take 4-quarter views and let's know when they're ready.
After the x-rays are finished, you can go back to your room, Mr. Smith. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well, what do you think, Jimmy?
We'll know better when we see the x-rays, of course, but there's a definite growth on the pylorus.
A dangerous growth?
Not necessarily, not unless it's malignant.
Well, if it isn't now, it will be if it's left there much longer.
I'd recommend exploratory surgery unless the plates indicate a benevolent tumor.
I am afraid that what we saw wasn't benevolent.
Here are the x-rays, Dr. Gillespie.
Oh, good. Let's have a look at them.
I'm afraid they don't require very much looking.
Yeah.
You agree?
All the appearances of carcinoma.
That's what I thought. Well, it'll have to be removed.
And in a couple of weeks at the most. If the growth spreads, the pylorus will be completely obstructed. After that, we'd be too late.
Well, we don't have any worry on that score. It isn't too late now, from all indications. It's still operable, and I'd say the prognosis is favorable.
Oh, definitely. Unless complications develop.
None manifest.
Well, serious complications seldom are. They pop up when they're least expected. That's what makes them serious.
Guess we'd better have a talk with Smith and get his consent for surgery.
Mr. Salvo has asked that we discuss our findings with him first, Jimmy. He's been in my outer office for an hour.
You know, that's an odd relationship between Salvo and Smith. What do you suppose is behind it?
Well, Dr. Kildare. Who's busting with curiosity now?
Oh, come now, Dr. G. Your long nose is still showing.
It is not. Parker! Parker!
Yes, Dr. Gillespie.
Is Mr. Salvo still there?
Yes,
Let's send him in, please.
Doctor, we'll see you now, Mr. Salvo.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen, he's all right, isn't he? There's nothing seriously wrong.
Are you asking us or telling us?
Well, I'm sorry, Doctor. I'm upset. Now, please tell me what you found.
Your friend's a very sick man, Mr. Salvo. I'll be blunt with you. We've located what seems to be a cancerous growth.
Then he's going to die.
Nobody said that.
Well, fortunately, you brought him here in time. The growth is operable.
No, Doctor. You're wrong. The growth is not operable. Not with him.
Are you a doctor, Mr. Salvo?
No, but I know something that you have yet to learn. Then you'll understand. I'll begin by telling you who John Smith really is.
Well?
The man you know as John Smith is Philip III, King of Corsonia.
That's impossible. Philip of Corsonia abdicated his throne and made the country a democracy 15 years ago. He's been living in England.
He has been here incognito for several months.
Why couldn't you tell us this before?
Because he has enemies. In 4 months, there'll be a plebiscite in Corsonia, an election that will determine whether the country remains democratic or falls before a rising dictatorship. Philip is the one man who can rally the democratic forces, bring the split factions together.
Well, then the operation's even more imperative. If we don't operate, he'll be dead in 2 months.
I know, Doctor. But there's nothing you can do to save him.
But we told you that the whole...
Just a minute, Jimmy, just a minute. I'm afraid we're dealing with more than cancer. We're dealing with the curse of royal blood. Is Philip a descendant of the Bourbons, Salvo?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean he's a hemophiliac, a bleeder?
Yes, Doctor.
What can we do, Dr. Gillespie? If we don't operate on him, he'll die of cancer in 2 months. If we do operate, his blood won't coagulate. He'll bleed to death on the table.
Jimmy, that man is doomed.
We return to the story of Dr. Kildare in just a moment. continue with the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Dr. Gillespie. Well, Sunshine Carew, what's on your mind?
Of course, my position as head of this hospital seems to mean nothing to some people I could name. But may I remind you, I do have certain rights.
Did you come in here to read me the Constitution?
I am speaking of my rights in this hospital.
Oh.
Why haven't I been informed that Blair Hospital is honored by the presence of His Royal Majesty, Philip III of Corsonia?
What? Carew. How in tarnation did you find that out? That man's here incognito. You understand?
I understand that you have tried to deprive Blair Hospital of the greatest publicity story in its history.
Publicity? If one word of this leaks out, I'll cut out your giblets.
But really, you expect me to ignore...
How did you find out?
I have my sources of information, Dr.
Oh, so that's it. Huh? Parker?
Did you call me your magic, Dr. Gillespie?
You nitwit. So that's why you've been practicing that funny bowing stuff.
Well, for your information, it's not funny bowing stuff. It's what they do at court, and it's called a curtsy.
With those pretzel legs of yours.
Pretzel legs? Let me tell you.
You tell me nothing. I'll tell you, both of you. A man is going to die, and the country he loves may die with him. Is that what you two blabbermouths want to turn into a publicity circus? Get out of here!
Dr. Kildare, come in.
How are you today, Mr.
No. I gave up being a king 15 years ago. Call me Philip, please. And regard me as a friend.
Oh, thank you.
Savo tells me that I have 2 months, Doctor.
Oh, of course, we can never be certain about
No.
those.
It's all right. I had hoped it might be longer. Not for myself, but for my people. If only I could live until the plebiscite. To see them secure with an honorable government, I would do anything.
Would you gamble on losing the 2 months you do have to live? Would you take that chance?
Why do you ask, Dr. Kildare?
Because even with the odds of 1,000 to 1 against us, I'm going to ask you to risk that operation.
But with hemophilia... Just a moment, Savo. Go ahead, Dr. Kildare.
Well, when a hemophiliac lives to maturity, as you have, there's sometimes an improvement in the condition of his blood. Not much, but some. With a strict pre-surgical regime, we might make some slight additional improvement. Maybe enough to give us just the ghost of a chance.
How can you ask him to take this risk?
You're forgetting something, Savo. I am going to die in any case. Dr. Kildare is asking me to risk what time I have left against the faint hope of recovery, and with it life for our people.
I'm sorry, Philip. I withdraw my objection.
All right, Doctor. I'll gamble with you. But do you realize you are gambling, too?
I realize that very keenly.
Well, then why are you doing this, Doctor?
I have my reasons.
Very well. When will you operate?
In about 2 weeks, when we've prepared you as best we can. I'll start by having the nurse bring you a capsule. It's an ovarian extract. You're to have one every 3 hours around the clock from now until surgery. The other preparations, well, you'll be acquainted with them as we go along. You sent for me, Dr. Gillespie?
You know darn well I did. Sit down, Jimmy. Sit down. What are you up to?
Why, I don't know what you mean.
Do you think I'm deaf, dumb, and blind? What's behind those extracts you've been prescribing for Philip?
Well, Dr. Gillespie, I've started him on a pre-surgery regime.
A pre-surgery? Jimmy Kildare, have you gone mad?
You've got to try it.
Have you thought of what failure means?
The life of one man who will die anyhow.
Oh, I know that, but the world won't know about it, or about the odds against you. They'll only know that a king died under your scalpel, and your future as a doctor will die with him.
I can't let that matter. Not in the face of what it means to his country, or what it may mean to the rest of the world.
What does it mean to us?
If Philip lives, it guarantees a democracy in Corsonia, a friendly nation in the strategic heart of Europe. Something to help balance our world against everything that might try to destroy it. And does my reputation mean more than that?
Well, you're right, Jimmy. We've no choice. Let's have it. What have you planned?
Oh, well, now, Dr. Gillespie, I can't ask you to share this.
Oh, confound it, Jimmy Kildare. Don't you try pulling that on me. I brought you into this case, and we'll see it through together.
Now, if we can get a look at this blood smear under the microscope.
He did a lot of bleeding for a simple finger puncture, Jimmy.
I know.
How's that slide look?
The platelet count's all right. Let's see. Above 250,000, but there's still a qualitative defect.
That's the trouble. It won't clot.
Type AB. We'll call a donor.
All set for direct transfusion, Dr. Kildare.
Thanks, Parker. Now, you may bleed quite a bit, sir.
I understand.
Clench and unclench your fist after I enter the vein. Now, here we go.
Hey, watch the point of entry, Jimmy.
It's all right. He'll get more than he loses.
Yeah, not as much as you'll need.
Platelets look a little better, Dr. G.
Clotting time didn't. It still took too long.
Well, we'll have to give him another direct transfusion in surgery.
Parker, prepare an injection of fresh serum, 30 cc's.
Intramuscular?
Yes, Parker, but I'll administer it.
I better repeat the same injection 24 hours before surgery.
I will. But that'll be it, Dr. Gillespie. There's nothing else we can do.
Yes, there is, Jimmy. Yes, there is. Give it up.
I can't. I've given my word, win or lose. Parker, see that the operating room is ready Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock. Scalpel, Parker.
Yes, Doctor.
How are those hemoclamps, Dr. Gillespie?
All right. Jimmy, but hurry up.
No time for pathology. We've got to get out fast.
Open the transfusion valve a little more, Parker. He isn't getting it fast enough.
Carcinoma isn't too bad. I'll be finished in a minute.
Oh, the cancer isn't our worry.
Dr. Kildare.
What is it, Dr. Mason?
I'm not getting a pulse, Doctor.
I can't stop. Quickly, Parker. Chloramine hypo.
Here.
I'll take it.
Right into the heart muscle, Dr. Gillespie.
There it is, Jimmy.
Well, I've got all of the growth ready for suturing. Any response, Dr. Mason?
No, I don't. Wait a minute. Yes. Faint, but there's a pulse.
Step up the oxygen, please.
Watch those hemoclamps, Jimmy.
I am, but we've got to close him up fast. Can't take much more blood from the donor.
Pulse is holding evenly, Doctor, but still faint.
We'll make it.
We'll get him out alive, and we've got to keep him that way. That's a tough one, Jimmy.
Yeah. Get those ice packs ready, Parker. Temperature change around the incision may help clotting.
How about cannon applications?
Try it. We'll try anything now. We've got nothing to lose.
Hello, Jimmy.
Oh, Dr. G.
How is he?
Oh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid we've lost. See for yourself.
But, Jimmy, there's no excessive blood loss here. Clotting seems to be all right.
All right, but too late.
Jimmy, come over here.
Is he gone?
Gone, nothing. Well, what was his last temperature reading?
Very low, almost down to 96.
Well, it's better than that now. You can tell by feeling him. Get those ice packs off him right away.
He does seem to be warmer.
Of course he's warmer. He's not in coma. He's in shock from loss of blood. But he's holding now. Let his temperature come up.
The clotting's strong enough to hold.
Effie's watched every minute to keep him from moving. Once he comes out of shock, one more transfusion would get him over the hump.
Yes, unless we failed where we can't see our failure. Inside, there may be internal loss.
Well, if there is, he won't regain consciousness.
If there is, it'll be my fault.
Don't ever say that, Jimmy. Getting him this far is a miracle. You had to work faster than any surgeon I've ever seen, and against fantastic odds.
He's stirring. He's coming around.
Talk to him. Penetrate his consciousness.
I'll try. Philip. Philip, do you hear me, Philip?
Dr. Kildare.
He's coming through, Jimmy.
Yes.
Finished?
Yes, Philip, we're finished. It's all over. You'll be all right now.
Had faith in you.
You couldn't have had faith in a better man. Jimmy, I'm going to call the donor.
Oh, I'll do it, Doctor.
No. You stay here with your patient. I'm the assistant on this case, and I'm proud of it.
In just a moment, we will return to the story of Dr. Kildare. Once again, the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres as Dr. Kildare and Lionel Barrymore as Dr. Gillespie.
Good morning, Dr. G.
Well, Jimmy, why are you so bright and cheerful?
Why, haven't you seen the morning papers? Hey, look. Results of the Corsonia plebiscite. Look at that headline.
Former monarch leads Democratic faction to overwhelming victory. People rally to execute. Jimmy, that is wonderful.
I know, and look at this. The man we knew as Sarvo was elected president of the Republic.
President. I like that word, Jimmy. I like it. Gives me a safe feeling.
Dr. Kildare. Oh, Dr. Kildare.
Parker, must you come in here like you were shot out of a cannon?
Well, I wanted to give this to Dr. Kildare. It's a cablegram. It just came all the way from Europe.
From Europe?
Here. What is it? What does it say?
Well, give him a chance to open it. Do you think he has X-ray eyes? Good. Well, Jimmy, what does it say?
It's from Philip. It says, President Sarvo and I thank you for a victory that would not have been possible without your help and the help of Dr. Gillespie. And persuading Sarvo to appoint me ambassador to the United States and look forward to seeing you again. Sarvo and I pledge that you and your country will always have friends in ours. With humble gratitude, Phil.
You have just heard the story of Dr. Kildare, starring Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore. This program was written by Joel Murcott and directed by Joe Bigelow. Original music was composed and conducted by Walter Schumann. Virginia Gregg was heard as Nurse Parker and Ted Osborne as Dr. Carew. Others in the cast included Larry Dobkin and Ben Wright. Dick Joy speaking.
Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A nightclub manager has been robbed and killed. The killers made good their escape. Their identity is unknown. Your job, get them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, April 7th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch at a homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from R&I, and it was 1:46 p.m. when I got to the interrogation room. Find anything? Oh, they're checking it now. Mr. Seaton?
Yes, Sergeant?
I wonder if you'd mind going over all that happened just once more. You might have forgotten something, some little thing that might help us here.
All right. Where do you want me to start? Where I came in this morning?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Well, I came into work about 8:30.
Is that the time you usually get there?
Yes, sir. It depends what time I catch my bus. Usually it's about then, though.
Was Mr. Kelby there then?
Yeah, he usually gets in around 8 or so. Comes in, looks the place over. You know, checks the register, liquor supply in the bar, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to his office to count the money for the night before, get the deposit slip ready for the bank. That's what he was doing this morning when they came in.
You see him come in?
Yeah, I was in the kitchen when those two men came in.
Mm-hmm.
First, I thought they were salesmen, and both of them were dressed kind of nice. A lot of salesmen come in to see Kelby that time in the morning. I didn't figure anything was wrong.
They say anything to you, these men?
Well, no, not at first. They just stood there looking the place over. I went on peeling my potatoes. Then I heard one of them say that he guessed they might as well get it over with, and that's when they pulled the guns and told me it was a stick-up.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, first, I didn't know quite what to do. I asked them if they was kidding, not to pull jokes like that. And I told them if it was a joke, it wasn't very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big one come over and told me to keep my mouth shut, told me it wasn't any joke. And if I made a sound, they'd just soon blow my head off and look at me. Well, you just know I wasn't about to cause any trouble.
Did Mr. Kelby know they were in the place?
No, not then. You see, he keeps the door to his office closed when he's counting the money, and I thought about yelling to him, but then when I looked at those two guys, I thought about what they'd said about killing me. I decided not to.
What did these men do then?
The tall one walked over to the door of Mr. Kelby's office and knocked on the door, and Mr. Kelby said for him to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And they opened the door and walked in. He saw the guns, asked them what they wanted. Told them they'd better get out of there with those guns, not to cause any trouble. The little one laughed at him and said they wanted the money and that Kelby was the one who shouldn't cause any trouble.
Okay.
Well, the little one started to pick up the money and stuff it in his pockets, and Mr. Kelby told him they better leave it alone, that he had friends that take care of him. And the two of them said something I couldn't hear. The little one told Kelby that his friends wouldn't do him any good. And that's when they shot him.
Which one actually shot him?
Oh, the little one. He's the one who said that thing about the friends.
Well, did you try to do anything to help Kelby while all this was going on?
Well, what could I do? I told you what those guys said. Kelby wanted to be a hero, save the money, fine. Wasn't his money, it belonged to the owners. Look, I tell you, Sergeant, money isn't worth that much. They nail you into that box and they don't throw a bank book in. Those guys told me to stay put, I stayed put.
What did these two fellows do after they shot Kelby?
Well, the big one was real surprised, like he didn't know the little one was going to do it. Yelled at him he was a fool, said he was a stupid fool. Those were his exact words. And the little guy finished getting all the money and then they ran out. Well, I'll tell you, I was scared to death they were going to kill me, too. It looked like it for a minute, too.
How do you mean?
Well, when they ran through the kitchen of the back door, the little one stopped and asked what they was going to do about me. I thought, sure, my number was up. Big one said not to make it any worse, to leave me alone. Then they ran out of the place. And boy, that's when I called the cops and those other guys, out there in the car. And then you came. The rest you know.
Are you sure that you've never seen any one of these men before?
Well, sir, I'm pretty sure I haven't.
I wonder if you can give us some kind of a description on these two men.
Yeah, the big one was about 6'2", maybe 3. Weighed about 180 to 200. Dark, black curly hair.
Anything special about him, the way he talked, any scars, anything like that?
No, nothing.
How was he dressed, do you remember?
Yeah, he had on a gray suit. Glen plaid had kind of red in it, The suit looked expensive. He had black shoes, a maroon tie.
Now, how about the smaller one? What did he look like?
Oh, he was a little one, 5, 6, or 7.
130, 35 pounds. He was dark, too, black hair, cut real short.
Uh-huh. How about his clothes?
Had on a blue suit. Looked like a gabardine. Single-breasted, light blue. Had on a yellow shirt and dark blue tie.
Would you know if there were any marks or scars on him?
Oh, yeah. He had a little tiny scar right here on the edge of his mouth. Made him look like he was smiling all the time.
Well, these are very good descriptions, Mr. Seaton. They're going to help us a lot here.
Yeah, well, like I said, I wasn't about to be a hero and try to stop these two, but I knew that you'd want to know what they looked like, so I tried to get all the dope I could.
We understand. Now, during the holdup, did either of these men use any names? One of them call the other by a name, anything like that?
Oh, let me think about that. Yeah, there was something. While they were in the office, while the little guy was picking up the money, the big one said, "Hurry up, Deuce." Yeah, he called him Deuce.
That was a smaller one?
Uh-huh, that's right, Deuce.
Joe.
Yeah.
I'll ask the stats office to make a run on the descriptions and MO for us. Check the oddity and the monitor file in the R&I office and see if they can come up with a deuce or anything on this guy.
That'll be fine, Frank. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you got cigarettes, Sergeant?
Yeah. Here you go.
Thanks. How about Mac?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a terrible thing, Kelby being shot. I'll probably lose my job.
How's that?
I'll probably lose my job. The owners will figure, sure, I should have tried to stop those guys. Well, those are the breaks.
You said that when these men came in, the door to the manager's office was closed. Is that right?
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Kelby always kept it closed when he counted the money, just like I said.
Uh-huh. Well, it looks like the men knew that Kelby would be checking the money at that time, doesn't it? That they knew the layout of the place when they came in.
Yeah, I never thought of that. By gosh, that's what must have happened. They sure seemed to know what was going on.
Anybody else that was usually around at that time, would you know? Anybody that might have known that the manager worked the accounts at that particular time?
No, there's nobody else around. But I don't think that Mr. Kelby kept it a secret about the money.
Was Kelby conscious at all after he was shot? Do you remember that?
Not more than a minute. I ran over to him right after the men left. I wanted to see if I could help, Yeah, he was shot pretty bad. They'd hit him in the stomach. He was all doubled up. Terrible. He looked up at me and said, "I know." And his voice kind of trailed off. That's all. Just, I know.
Stats office is making a run, Joe. Got out the local and the APB on the suspects. Nothing that matches the name Deuce and nothing on the scar.
Anything from the crime lab yet?
No. Checked by the office. While I was there, Murphy called from Georgia Street.
Anything?
Yeah, not good.
What?
Kelby died, never regained consciousness.
With the death of the victim, any information he might have given us about his killers was gone. The one witness to the murder was shown the mug books, but was unable to identify the suspect. Sergeants Gill Encinas and Danny Galindo canvassed the neighborhood and came up with the driver of a bakery truck who thought he'd seen the killers leave the club. He told them that two men answering the description given us had walked out of the club and gotten into a late model Mercury sedan. He'd not been able to get the license number of the car, however. He was brought into the office and shown the mug books, but he was unable to point out the killers for us. In checking the neighborhood, Encinas and Galindo had come up with a waitress who had seen two men answering the description of the killers loitering around the area. She also described the Mercury sedan, but said that she hadn't paid much attention to it. Because of the smoothness with which the hold-up men had operated, indications led us to believe that they had been tipped off by somebody working for the club. Proceeding with this theory, we checked with the club owner, a Mr. John Watson. We found him in the kitchen of his home.
Hope you don't mind if I finish up here, officers.
No, not at all, Mr. Watson.
Guess it seems a little silly to you for a man to be in the kitchen. Kind of a hobby of mine, cooking.
Yes, sir?
Making a cheesecake. Got some friends coming over tonight. Figured the cheesecake might taste good later in the evening.
Yes, sir. You go right ahead. We just have a few questions we'd like to ask you.
About the robbery? Terrible thing. I don't understand why Kelby just didn't give him the money. Not give him any reason to shoot.
Do you have any idea who might have known that the money would be in the office at the time?
And almost everyone that worked in the place, not making mention of the salesman that came in. Would you hand me that rolling pin over there?
Yeah. Here you are.
Thanks. Crust to a cheesecake's important. That's one of the reasons I make it myself. Can't stand a soggy crust.
Are there any of your employees that you think might do a thing like this?
Well, that'd be hard to say. I didn't get around the club much. Once in a while, I'd drop by, chat with Kelby. He did the hiring and firing. As long as the place made money, I didn't interfere.
Well, the way it looks, it could be very likely that one of the employees did it. The men who pulled the job seem to know just what they were doing.
That right?
Yes, sir. I wonder if we could look through your employment record.
Sure, of course. Anything I can do to help out in this thing. Would you hand me that pan over there?
Where? This one?
Yeah. Thanks. Get this crust into it, and the cheesecake's about ready. Yeah, sure, you can look at the record. Don't see what that's going to show, but you're welcome to them.
What kind of a car do you drive, Mr. Watson?
New Lincoln. Just got it a couple of weeks ago.
Any of your employees drive a late model Mercury that you might know of?
No. Oh, like I said, I don't really have a lot to do with the actual operation of the club. Claudia took care of that. Good manager. Did a fine job.
Can you tell us how much money they took, sir?
No, near as we can tell, it came to a little over $1,100. Some of that was in checks, that we cashed for our customers. Well, that finishes that. Get this together. Now, get it in the oven. Looks good, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
You should taste it. Set it for 350 for 25 minutes, and that does it. Yeah. Now then, can I get you officers anything? Cup of coffee, something like that?
No, sir. If you just arrange for us to check your employment records.
Certainly. I'll call the club right away.
We'd appreciate that.
My brother-in-law's down there looking after things now. He's an idiot. Never could get a job on his own. I only hired him because my wife insisted on it. Yeah, he'd probably botch up the whole thing. Usually does.
Well, if you'd call him, sir.
How's Kelby's condition? Going to be laid up long?
Well, Mr. Kelby's dead, sir. We thought you knew.
No, I hadn't heard. Oh, I can hardly believe it. Such a ruthless thing. Just terrible. Kelby was such a good man. Everybody that worked for him liked him. Didn't have an enemy in the world.
He had two. We went back 5 years into the employment records of the club. There were over 200 names. Each of them had to be checked out. Frank and I spent 2 months running them down. In all instances, the people interviewed had alibis, or else they could explain their action at the time of the robbery and killing. In each instance, if the person owned an automobile, it was checked. A broadcast and an APB had been gotten out on the late model Mercury seen at the club, but there had been no answers. No replies had come in on the descriptions of the two suspects. June 17th, we were checking out the last 3 names on the list. One of the 3, a David Adams, listed a rooming house on West 34th Street as his home address. We checked with the landlady, Mrs. Elvia Collins.
Adams? Sure, he lives here, second floor front.
Wonder if we could talk to him, ma'am.
Sure, got no reason to say you can't. Come in.
Thank you, ma'am.
He isn't in right now. Went out about an hour ago. Said he had to lead on a job, and I sure hope he gets it. He's a couple of months behind in his rent. Sit down. Just take any chair.
Thank you, Miss Collins.
You officers like anything? Mint on the table there. Help yourself.
No, thank you. Adams give you any idea when he might be back?
No, he didn't say right out. I expect he'll be here by 6.
How's that, ma'am?
That's when we serve dinner. Mr. Adams hasn't missed more than 4 meals since he's been living here.
What does Adams look like?
Oh, little man. Sort of like my first husband, little dried-up man.
Well, how old would you say he is?
Well, I know exactly. Baked his birthday cake last Wednesday. 46 candles and 1 for luck.
About how tall would you say, ma'am?
5'6" or so.
How about his weight?
Maybe 120, and that'd have to be soaking wet. He's a real little man.
Is he dark or light?
I beg pardon?
His hair, is it dark or light?
Oh, light. A real silky hair. What little there is left of it. Funny the way he combs it. Never could figure it out why a man would comb his hair that way.
What's that, ma'am?
Well, you see, he's only got a little bit of hair on one side. And he lets it grow real long, and then he combs it all the way over the top of his head, so it'll look like he's got a lot of hair. He really doesn't, though. He's silly. He's pretty vain about other things, too.
Does he have any friends in the building, Miss Collins?
Well, there's his 2 cousins. They've moved, though.
How long ago did they move?
Let's see. Must have been about 2, 3 months ago. Yes, that much, anyway.
Well, what did these 2 cousins look like, Miss Collins? Can you describe them?
You just bet I can. I had a lot of trouble with them 2, always drinking. First one, he was a big one. 6 feet, anyway. Had dark hair. Weighed maybe 200 pounds.
Miss Collins, how about his complexion?
Dark.
Anything outstanding about him?
Well, now, what do you mean outstanding?
Well, I mean anything about him that struck you as being different, maybe. Anything that attracted your attention, something like that?
No.
Well, what about the number 2 man? How old was he?
Oh, he was a little younger. 35 or maybe 37, around there.
Well, how tall would you say he was, Miss Collins?
Well, he was a little man. 5'6" or 7.
How much do you figure he weighed, would you know?
130 pounds or so.
How about his complexion?
Dark. Just like the other one.
Anything outstanding about him? Scars, tattoos, maybe anything like that?
Yes, he had a scar. Right on the corner of his mouth. Made him look like he was smirking all the time. It was a real dirty look.
What are these men's names, Miss Collins?
Well, now, the big one was called Al Evans. The little one's name was Bill Evans. They was brothers.
Did they have a car?
Oh, yes, a late one. It was real pretty.
You know what make it was?
No. No, I'm sorry, but I can't tell one kind from another. Sure was a nice-looking one, though. A lot of chrome all over it.
Do you have any idea where they might be now, where they moved to?
No, I haven't. Well, Mr. Adams can probably tell you, though.
I see.
Oh, that might be him now. I'll see.
Oh, we'll go with you, ma'am, all right?
Are you expecting any trouble? What's this all about, anyway? Mr. Adams done something wrong? Oh, I do hope not. He's a little man, but he's awfully nice.
We'd just like to talk to him.
Oh, I sure hope there won't be any trouble. Oh, Mr. Adams.
Yes, Miss Collins?
These gentlemen would like to talk to you.
Oh? Nothing I can do for you?
Are you David Adams?
Yes, sir, that's right.
We're police officers, Mr. Adams. My name's Friday. It's my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do? What is it you wanted?
Well, it might be better if we talked in your room.
All right, but I still don't see what it is you want.
Did you get the job?
No, Mrs. Collins, but I've got another lead. Don't worry, I'll be able to take care of that matter by the first next week.
Oh, it's all right, Mr. Adams. I understand.
This is it. Not much. Sit down anyway.
Thank you.
You want to tell me what this is all about now? What it is that you want with me?
Well, we'd like to talk to you about the robbery of the Pink Rat Cafe last April. Manager was killed.
The Pink Rat, yes. I worked there a couple of years ago, but I don't think I've been in the place since then. I lost the job. Kelby fired me for dropping a load of dishes.
Did you have an argument at the time?
Well, a little one, yeah. I was sore. He was, too. Wanted me to pay for the dishes. I didn't feel it was my fault. I told him so. He had a few words. Nothing serious, so why?
Mr. Kelby was killed in the hold-up at the bar.
Yes, I know. That's too bad. But you surely don't think I had anything to do with that, do you?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
Well, why do you think I'd have anything to do with it? I haven't been near the place for a couple of years.
Well, the way the thing was pulled, the whole M.O. makes it look like it's an inside job. Somebody had to give the layout, tell him that Kelby would be in his office with the money at that time. It all points to somebody that either works there now or who did work there.
Yes, but why me?
Well, your name was on the list. It had to be checked out. Adams, you got any relatives in town?
Not now. I had a couple of cousins. They were out here for a while.
What are their names?
Alan, Bill, Evans.
Mind if we look around your room?
No, I got nothing to hide. Go ahead and look around. You won't find anything.
Thanks.
What is it about my cousins? You figure they had something to do with the thing?
Well, we think they might have. Their descriptions match the ones we got from the witnesses.
You've been talking to old Mrs. Collins. She's the one that told you about Alan Bill, isn't she?
Well, who told us isn't important, Adam?
You don't have to admit it, I know. You're a busybody, always getting your nose into somebody else's business. Oh, Harpy.
Joe? Yeah.
Look at here.
What's this gun for, Adam?
You never know when somebody's going to try to break into the house. It's protection, that's all.
You never had it out of the house, huh?
Not since I bought it. It's a 32, though. What are you so interested for? Kelby was killed with a 38. Well, he was, wasn't he? Seems to me I heard it on the radio or read it in one of the papers.
No, you didn't. The caliber of the gun that killed him wasn't released. How'd you know?
I must have read it in the paper, like I said.
No, this won't work, mister. I think maybe we better talk to you downtown, huh?
You going to arrest me?
Just like to talk to you downtown. Let's go.
Well, sure, but I got nothing to hide.
Well, you still got to come up with an explanation for knowing about that gun.
Description we got matches your cousin's. You know about the gun. You got a lot to explain. I don't want to go to jail.
Too bad, Adam. You should have thought about that before you got involved in this.
Well, if I tell you, if I help to get the guys that did it, will you give me a break?
Well, we can't make any deal.
Well, I don't want to go to jail. You can't do anything for me, huh?
All we can do is see that the district attorney's office knows that you've helped.
But you'll tell him, huh? If I give you a hand?
He'll know about it.
Okay. I got claustrophobia putting me in a cell and drive me nuts. I'll tell you who did the job. More than that.
Yeah.
I can show you the gun they used.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Listen to what the nation's press has had to say about Chesterfield's.
Atlantic City Evening Union. Wholesalers and retailers report an extraordinary demand for Chesterfields in both sizes, with sellouts in many instances.
Cleveland Press. Dealers everywhere report the big pack sale phenomenal. Last week in Cleveland, some areas reported the long-size Chesterfield outsold all other brands.
And from all over the country, we're getting reports from dealers telling us no product they ever handled has grown so fast in so short a time as king-size Chesterfields.
Yes, with the buying public today, high quality for the money is a must. And that's why so many smokers are changing to Chesterfield. First cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. King size Chesterfield is exactly the same as regular Chesterfield, except it's larger. Contains so much more of the same tobacco, it gives you a 21% longer smoke, yet costs very little more.
And the tobacco in king-size Chesterfield is of better quality and higher price than the tobacco in any other king-size cigarette.
Try Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, they're much milder. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
We took David Adams back to the office and checked the gun with pawn shop records. It was clean. We printed him and checked him through R&I. We took him over to Westlake Park, and he showed us the approximate place in the lake where the gun had been thrown. He explained that his two cousins had talked him into helping him with the robbery at the club. He also said that as soon as he found out that there'd been a shooting, he'd washed his hands of the entire affair and told them that he'd have nothing more to do with it. The loot from the robbery had been divided between the two cousins, Adams taking no part of it. It took us 2 hours of searching before we were able to find the gun. It was turned over to Russ Camp in ballistics. He fired test shots from the gun, and comparison with the death bullet showed that it was the murder weapon. Markings on the shell casing found at the scene of the crime were the same as those left on the test casing. Adams told us that Bill Evans owned a late model Mercury sedan and that the two brothers had left for St. Louis in the car. He also was able to give us the license number. We checked with DMV, and they told us that the legal owner was a finance company on Crenshaw. The manager there told us that their payments were up to date. They were able to give us a St. Louis address used as a reference by Bill Evans. We called the St. Louis Police Department, gave them a rundown, and asked them to pick up the Evans brothers for us. The witness to the killing was unable to identify David Adams as one of the holdup men. He was taken to the main jail and booked on suspicion of 287 PC. Frank and I waited for word from the St. Louis Police Department.
They're all the same, aren't they, Joe?
What do you mean?
I put any of them in a tight spot, and they'll spill all I know to save their skins.
Well, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Adams seems pretty sincere, though. Seems like he does really want to help.
Well, we'll know more when we hear from St. Louis.
You figure that Adams is telling the truth?
I don't know. The story seems to check out about how he laid the thing out for him, showing us where the gun was. Being that far back in his room, Red, it'd make that part about him not taking any of the money fit. I'll get it. Homicide Friday. Yeah, I'll take it. Mello. Yeah. Yeah, we've been waiting to hear from you. You pick up the Evans brothers? Uh-huh. Yeah, wait a minute. Toss me that pad, will you, Frank? Yeah, here. Thanks. Yeah, all right, go ahead. Uh-huh. What was that again? I didn't... Yeah, I got it. Okay, thanks. Anything we can do for you, give us a call. Yeah, sure, we sure appreciate it. Right, bye.
What does it? What do you mean?
St. Louis checked the address. They'd been there all right, but they left this morning.
Any idea where they went?
Yeah, the Evans boys told us.
Huh?
They left a forwarding address. Motel out on Ventura Boulevard. Frank and I notified Captain Lorman of the new developments. We talked to the manager of the motel, and she told us that she did have a reservation for June 24th under the name Evans. She told us that they'd be in Cottage 12. In view of the fact that the suspects had not been alarmed, we decided not to put out an APB on the car. We felt reasonably sure that having made the reservations, they'd keep them. But in the event the suspects arrived earlier than expected, a surveillance was placed on the motel 24 hours a day. Sergeants Howard Hudson and Bill Cummings took the period from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Frank and I covered the other 12 hours. Directly across from the motel was a used car lot. We talked to the manager, and he gave us permission to sit in any one of his cars while keeping the place under surveillance. As we relieved each other, the police car was taken back to the city hall, so there would be no indication that the place was staked out. 4 days passed. No sign of the suspect. June 23rd, 4:32 a.m.
Joe.
Yeah, Mercury sedan. License checks. 2 men.
Stopping at the manager's cottage. They're ringing the bell.
Yeah, looks like they're signing the register.
It must be. There. He's giving him the key.
All right, let's let him get to the cottage. We told her we would. All right. Well, there's the landlady signal. Let's go.
Right.
Cover me.
Yeah.
Who is it? This is the manager. Gonna have to move your car.
Huh?
You gotta move your car. Put it in the back.
What do you want? Stand still.
Come, Bill! Hey, Joe, get the other one.
Yeah.
Get away from me, cop. Leave me alone.
All right, give it up, mister.
I'm getting out. If you got any brains, you ain't gonna try to stop me.
You're going no place, mister. You can't get over that wall. Throw that gun out here. You haven't got a chance.
No, sir, Arthur. You'll never take me.
All right, hold it up, Evan.
All right. No good. I'll drop these here. I got no gun. Get a doctor for me, huh? Or it hurts.
Yeah, we'll call one.
You didn't have to shoot, did you? Lousy deal. You didn't have to shoot.
You didn't give me much choice, mister.
I wasn't trying to hit you, just trying to scare you, that's all. I didn't want to hit you. I'm a good shot. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, you proved you're a good shot.
What do you mean?
When you killed Kelby.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfield. First such report ever published about any cigarette.
Yes, and it applies only to Chesterfield. A responsible consulting organization has reported the results of a continuing study by a competent medical specialist and his staff on the effects of smoking Chesterfield cigarettes. A group of people from various walks of life was organized to smoke only Chesterfields. For 6 months, this group of men and women smoked their normal amount of Chesterfields, 10 to 40 a day. 45% of the group smoked Chesterfields continually from 1 to 30 years, for an average of 10 years each. At the beginning and at the end of the 6-month period, each smoker was given a thorough examination, including X-ray pictures, by the medical specialist and his assistants. The examination covered the sinuses as well as the nose, ears, and throat. The medical specialist, after a thorough examination of every member of the group, stated, quote, "It is my opinion that the ears, nose, throat, and accessory organs of all participating subjects examined by me were not adversely affected in the 6-month period by smoking the cigarettes provided." Unquote. Now remember this Chesterfield report. It's the first such report ever published about any cigarette.
Nose, throat, and accessory organs not adversely affected by smoking Chesterfields.
Buy Chesterfield either way you like them, regular or king size. Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
William M. Evans and Alfred T. Evans were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. They received life sentences in the state penitentiary. Because David R. Adams had turned state's evidence, and since he was not actually involved in the crime, in the interest of justice, the charges against him were dismissed and he was released from custody. This program is dedicated to the 59th Annual Conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police held in Los Angeles this week. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Virginia Gregg, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
These great programs sound off for Chesterfield. Radio, Dragnet, The Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis Show. And every weekday, Arthur Godfrey time. On television, Dragnet, Gangbusters, Arthur Godfrey and his friends, and the Perry Como Show.
Tomorrow, you'll want to sound off for Chesterfields, because either way you like them, regular or king size, Chesterfield gives you the best possible smoke.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the first cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
man has been found in the trunk of an automobile. He's been badly beaten and is suffering from shock. Your job? Investigate. Here's what the nation's press has had either way you... Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 18th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief detective. My name's Friday. It was 10:48 p.m. when I got back to the car. Unit 1 came... Sure wet out in it. Was he in? No, he's the guy who gave us the big story about carrying the lunch bucket. Always home by 9 o'clock. Yeah. There was a call while you were out. Someone locked in a car trunk. We better roll on it. Yeah. What do you figure about your informant? I don't know. This rain pulled up someplace. He's not on the street. He's your boy, Joe. You ever come up with anything worthwhile? Well, he used to. Got to be an awful lunch now. He can't stay sober long enough. Always talking about joining AA, but he never seems to get around to it. Too bad. Doing good if you give him a chance. If you want to be helped, they're the ones who can do it. Well, I'll try to catch him in the morning, huh? It's getting late. I'm tired. Yeah, I could use some sleep. Hey, when we see this guy, you think he'll be able to give us anything? I don't know. Nancy might. He might be able to come up with something. Doesn't figure, Joe. Nice job they've pulled. There's not a rebel in town on him. Not even a close identification. Well, we don't turn him soon. It's going to be out of our hands. Be something for homicide to work on. You figure this trunk deal might be the same one? Well, if it's him, it makes number 10 for him. The old man will clean his head off in the morning. Joe won't help his ulcer. He'll be sipping milk all day. He just graduated with soft-boiled eggs. This thing will put him right back on the sippy diet. Poor old idiot. Thieves and ulcers. He just can't win. Now, that must be it up there, Frank. Guy waving the radio car. Oh, yeah. There's 1A4 just coming in, too. Yeah. Let's sit here. You want to get out my side? Yeah. Go ahead. Right around the corner, officer. I'm the one who called. Didn't think you'll only get here. I'll show you. Right around here? Yes. All right, Joe, Frank. You police officers, too? Yes, sir. My name's Friday. It's my partner, Frank Smith. How do? I'm Carl Miller. I own the drugstore on the corner. I'm the one who found the car, you know. Yes, sir. If you'd show us the car. Yeah, sure thing. Around this way. I'm going way back from Miss Dalton. Ordered some college bills for babies. That's his car. Thought I heard something. Yes, sir. I walked by, then I got to thinking that maybe something might be wrong. So I went back. I looked in the car, but I couldn't see anything. Yeah? Well, I figured that maybe it might be my imagination. You know, maybe something else. And I heard this voice. Sounded like it was coming from the front. I tried to get it open, but it was locked. And that's when I called you. Is this? Yes, sir. Put your ear against the front. You can probably hear it. Yeah, let me see. There's somebody in there. Let's see if we can get this thing open, huh? I'm going to need something to pry it open. Got anything in the car, Al? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe there's something in here. I'll look. No, sir. Please don't touch the car. What? Don't touch the car, sir. Oh, sure. You want to look for fingerprints? Should have thought of it myself. I'll check my door. Should have something in there. All right, fine. Al? Yeah. You want to see if you got anything in your trunk? Yeah, I'll check it. Fine. All right, sir. We're police officers. We'll get you out. Same one, huh, Joe? Yeah, looks like him. Same MO. I'll just say you're not going to die. Joe? Yeah. There's this bar in the trunk. You want to try it? Yeah, fine. Here. Yeah. Let me help you. Come on, try it. Yeah, all right. Here. I think I got it. Yeah. Here. That's good. Here. Oh, let's get it open. Give me a hand, please. Yeah. It's all right, sir. Get me out of there. I'll get the tape on. Just to get everybody's fun. Both girls are going. That's okay now. You want to tell us what happened, sir? Sure. I got him, Frank. Yeah. Better get an ambulance, Al. Right. Hey, let's get him under that awning over there, out of the rain. Right. Easy now. What do you figure? I don't know. Lay him down. Here. Take my coat. Cover him up. Yes, I got it, officer. It's all right. You already got it open? Yes, sir, we did. A little bitty screwdriver probably wouldn't have worked anyway. Oh, thank you anyway, sir. Sure thing. Anything else I can do for you? No, sir, it's all right. Nothing you need? Nothing at all? Well, not unless you got a good remedy for ulcers. 11:01 p.m. The ambulance arrived and took the victim to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Frank and I followed in our car. This was the 10th in a series of kidnappings in which the suspects obtained cars to use in armed robberies. After beating the victims, they'd lock them in the trunk of the car, and after completion of the robberies, they'd abandon the automobile with the victims
tied and gagged in the trunk. Although to date none of the victims had been killed, we knew it was only a matter of time until the suspects kidnapped somebody who would be incapable of standing the treatment, and we'd not only have a robbery but a murder to deal with. The holdups had been going on for a period of 6 weeks. Frank and I followed up what leads we could, but they brought us nothing. None of the victims could describe the suspects other than to tell us they were male, white Americans, and that one of them spoke with a southern drawl. 11:17 p.m. We arrived at the hospital. The victim had been placed in treatment room number 3. Dr. George Hall was treating him. Frank and I went into the room to talk to the doctor.
Hi, Joe. Frank. Doctor, hi, guys. How is he? Oh, he's all right. Suffering from shock. Got a nasty abrasion on his right cheek. I gave him a sedative to quiet him down. He'll be okay in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. What happened to him?
Oh, a trunk bandage again.
Vicious bunch.
You going to release him, Doc?
Yeah, I'll be all right in 15 or 20 minutes. You know his name? I want to make out his treatment card.
No, he passed out on us before we could get it.
He's coming around now. Oh, you're all right now, fella. Just relax. Take it easy. Here. See if you can sit up here on the edge of the table. Joe?
Yeah, Doc.
You want to pour a glass of water, cups over there on the wall?
Yeah, sure.
I'll get you some water, sir. That's it. Now, just sit quiet. Easy. There you are, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thirsty. Right, if we talk to him, Doc? Sure, go ahead. Will you tell us what happened, sir?
Yeah. About 7:45, Maeve, that's my wife, said we were out of coffee. We were having late dinner, so while she finished fixing it, I went out to get some.
Yeah.
I got down to Pico and Union. Signal was working. Stop. I pulled up. There were 2 guys standing on the safety zone. You know, like they were waiting for a streetcar.
Mm-hmm.
I thought at the time, what a lousy thing having to stand out in the rain waiting for a streetcar.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, the next thing I knew, one of them opened the door out in front. When he opened the door, I figured that maybe it was somebody that knew me. It was dark, you know. Couldn't see too well. The other one opened the back door and got right in the car. I knew darn soon I didn't know these guys.
Sir?
Well, the fellow in front had a gun, pointed right at me. Looked like a cannon, biggest gun I ever saw. Tell you I was scared.
Yeah.
Told me to pull up the curb. I did.
What happened then?
Told me to get in the back seat. I told them they could take my money, car, whatever they wanted. Just let me go. And the guy in the back told me to shut up and get back there with him. I asked him again to let go. Told him that I wouldn't say anything. Said if they'd just let me go, I wouldn't tell anyone. I was scared, you know.
Yes, sir, we understand.
The guy in the front got a real wild look in his eye. Looked like he was crazy. I tried to get out of the car and he hit me. Side of the head with that gun. Then they grabbed me, threw me in the back seat, hauled me right over the front. Just dumped me on the floor in the back.
What did you do then?
Oh, nothing. I just laid there. Figured that maybe they'd think I was out cold and leave me alone.
Then what happened?
Well, the guy in the back took a roll of adhesive tape out of his pocket, wrapped around my wrist and ankle.
Well, what did they do then, sir?
Well, they still thought I was knocked out. The guy in the front said, get me out of the car. Big fellow opened the door, lifted me out, picked me up like a sack of potatoes. The guy with a gun ran around, opened the trunk, and they threw me in. One of my legs was over the bumper, and the big guy grabbed it and twisted it so it fit in the trunk. Almost died, but I didn't dare let him know it wasn't out.
Mm-hmm. And after that?
He locked the car and drove away. Must have drove for a while, and they stopped.
Mm-hmm. You got any idea how long they drove, sir? How far?
I couldn't see anything. Couldn't hear much. Just a little mumbling. I know they stopped the gas station, though.
Oh, how's that, sir?
Well, right after we stopped, I heard one of them yell at somebody. I couldn't tell what he was yelling. Then a little while, I heard somebody come back, take the gas cap off of the tank. And I heard the gas go in the tank, right in front of the trunk.
That's it.
Well, after the guy put the cap back on the tank, I heard one of the guys say something about stick-up.
Well, why you were stopped? Did you try to let the gas station attendant know if you were in the trunk?
Oh, sure. And I tried to kick the trunk, but the way they twisted my leg put me in, I couldn't move. They gagged me, too. Put a big piece of adhesive tape over my mouth. No, sir, I tried to let the guy know. I just couldn't do it.
You said that you heard one of them say, this is a stick-up.
Yeah. Those were the words you used, too. This is a stick-up.
Why don't you go ahead, sir?
Well, there was some quiet talking after that. I couldn't tell what was going on, and they drove away again.
You had no idea where this gas station was?
No. I'm sorry, but I was being bounced around that trunk. My head was where they hit me. I know they turned some corners, but I couldn't even guess where the station might be.
All right, sir. What happened then?
Same thing. They'd drive for a while and they'd stop. They'd get out of the car, then come back. We'd start to drive again. So finally they parked and waited for them to come back. They didn't. I tried to get the gag off my mouth so I could yell for help. Rubbed my face against the spare tire and got loose. Then I yelled, kicked my feet against the trunk. I just about given up when you found me. I was sure I was through. It was getting hard to breathe in there.
I can imagine.
No, you can't. Until you've been locked in the trunk. Nobody can imagine that. Terrible. Just terrible. Say, have you called me? That's my wife. Have you called her?
No, sir, we haven't.
Oh, she'll be hopping mad. What time is it?
It's 11:45.
Almost 4 hours to get a pile of coffee. She'll be raising the roof. Would you call her? Tell her where I am?
Yes, sir, I'll call her. Want to give me the number?
Madison 34656. Tell her you're calling for Henry. Explain what happened.
All right, sir, right away.
Officer.
Yeah?
Be sure to tell her you're a policeman. She'll believe you.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of questions, sir. I have to fill out this card.
Sure. I hate to ask. Could I have another cup of water?
I'll get it down.
What do you want to know?
Your full name.
Henry J. Hildare.
Hildale?
All right.
All right, sir, here's your water.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm so thirsty. Dust in the trunk, I guess. Got my throat.
Yes, sir. Now, what's your address, Mr. Hildale?
920 North Lebanon Avenue. Phone number is Madison 34656.
4656. How old?
48. Be 49 this October.
All right, Mr. Hildale. You have a way to get home. We'll run him home, Doc.
Oh, what about my car? Can't I take it?
Well, we're going to have to process it for fingerprints, so we can release it to you in the morning.
You called me?
Yes, sir. I just talked to her.
Where's she sore?
Well, she was a little upset. Worried about you.
But you told her about what happened.
Yes, sir. Everything's all right now.
That's good.
Mr. Hildale.
Yes, Doc.
You can leave now. I suggest you see your own doctor in the morning. Just check up.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks a lot for your trouble. Sure appreciate it.
That's okay. Note this way. The elevator's down here.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get the button. Same story, huh, Joe? One big trouble. What's that? We're hearing it too often. 12:18 p.m. We left Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and drove Mr. Hildale back to his home. On the way, we asked him for a description, but he was only able to give us a very meager one. We did get enough information from him for our crime report. He told us he'd come in the next day to look through the mug book. We checked into the city hall, got a DI number, and filled out the crime report. We booked the adhesive tape as evidence. The information on the robberies the suspect had pulled that night had come into the office. There had been 3 of them, and among them was a service station Mr. Hildale had told us about. At 1:46 a.m., Frank and I signed out of the office and went home to get some sleep. 7:58 a.m. We talked with Captain Didion. Here's the description we got from the service station, Lieutenant. Want to look at it? Yeah, thanks. Same guy. Frank? Yes, Skipper. Want to hand me that milk? Yeah. Here you are. Stomach's Regan, okay? This is a 10th kidnapping and 23rd robbery. When are you two going to get off the dime and bring those guys in? We'll do everything we can, Skipper. You know that. And it's not enough. I know you guys have been beating your heads against the wall on this thing, but the corner pocket's on my back, and we got to break it. We've contacted all our informants. We've run on every lead that's turned up. They all go to the same place. Nowhere. I'm giving the chief every excuse I can. I'm not going to try to sell him any more. I don't think he'd buy him. You know what? The guys who are pulling these jobs are flesh and blood. They eat and sleep. Somebody in town knows them. They're not saying them. Let's find them. These guys aren't the brainiest ones in the world. If they were, they wouldn't be getting the cars the way they do. Well, yeah, that figures. How about the car? Find anything? I called Leighton Prince. They said the car was drying up to work on. I couldn't tell if anything in. Said they'd call us back. Mm-hmm. I've been going over the crime reports. Maybe got an idea. Yeah. The way it looks, they picked up the cars in one area, pulled the jobs in the same area. Could be that they live in that area. Makes sense. They've been working inside a 30-square block, straight down the hill, 7th to Pico. You got a description on them. Talked to the desk clerks at every hotel and boarding house in the area. Robbery, Didion? Yeah, he's here. See you, Jim. Thanks, Kevin. fingerprinting lab. We gave him the description of the suspects and their M.O. and the fact that one of them spoke with a southern accent. We asked him to run off 500 flyers for distribution in the area that we were going to canvass. 12:15 p.m.
Sorry, Sergeant. Didn't recognize any of them.
Well, that's all right, sir. I understand.
Don't think this picture was there. I'd feel awful if I saw it and didn't recognize it, but I'm pretty sure you just don't have a picture of the man.
Yes, sir. Well, maybe we'd like to rest a little bit before we look at any more.
Yeah, if I can. Get a little confused looking at so many. After a while, they all begin to look alike.
Yes, sir. Joe? Yeah. See you later? Sure thing. Excuse me, Mr. Kildare.
Of course.
Yeah. Just got a call from Charlie Sutton. San Francisco? Yeah. Thinks they got our boy.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Frank went on to tell me that in talking to Inspector Sutton of the San Francisco Police Department, he found out that they thought they had one of the suspects. Sutton said he was apprehended after he kidnapped a man who stopped for a boulevard stop. The suspect had taped the man up and thrown him into the trunk of the automobile. Sutton went on to say that a witness on the street had called the police and furnished them a description of the car and the license number. The kidnapper was apprehended immediately. He refused to talk, and further investigation disclosed that the suspect was a PZ from Los Angeles. Inspector Sutton told us that he'd send a stand-up mug to the suspect by airmail special delivery. The following morning, when he received the mugs, he showed them to the victims of the robberies in the Los Angeles area. Several of them positively identified the man. Others stated that he resembled the suspect, and some of the victims were unable to give any identification of the suspect at all. In view of the circumstances, Frank and I were ordered to take two of the most reliable witnesses up to San Francisco in order to observe the suspect in person. We signed the out-of-town book, checked out a trip car, picked up our witnesses, and left for the Bay Area. 7:15 p.m., we checked into the San Francisco police station on Kearny Street. A special show-up was arranged for the victims from Los Angeles. They failed to give a positive identification of the suspect, but both of them said that he could be one of the men involved in the robbery. 8:20 p.m., we talked to the suspect at Jack Webster in Inspector Sutton's office.
What are you guys trying to
We're
prove?
not trying to prove anything, Webster. We want the facts.
Well, that's what I'm giving you. Since when you get them, you don't want to
Look,
believe
we got two people outside that came all the way up here from L.A. Both of them say you're the guy who stole their cars and beat them up.
Well, they're both crazy.
According to the report, you pulled the kidnapping just like the ones that were pulled down south. How about that?
So it looks the same. That mean I did it?
Looks like it. We ran your name through R&I down in Los Angeles. There's a tab on your card for PDs. You know that?
What?
Galloway in Los Angeles wants you for parole violation.
Oh, well, I think I can explain that.
I don't think you can, Webster. Galloway says he hasn't heard from you for the past 6 weeks. That's how long these robberies have been going on. You look awful good for him.
So I maybe skipped town. I was going to report up here. I got a job. Now I'm trying to go straight.
How about the job they got you for now?
I needed a little extra dough. You know, something came up. I read about those jobs in L.A. I figured it might work for me. Thought maybe you'd figure it was the same guy.
Yeah, we do.
You got it all wrong. Sure, you got me nailed for this one, but that's all. I had nothing to do with him in L.A.
Our witnesses seem to think otherwise.
You tell your witnesses they're full of cheese. I didn't have anything to do with him. I'm sorry, boys. You got me tagged for a job up here. Nothing else.
How'd you figure that?
Well, how long did you say those jokers been working in L.A.?
About 6 weeks.
Then you got nothing on me.
Yeah.
Sure, I haven't left town for a month and a half, and I can prove it.
Jack Webster told us that he's been registered at a hotel on Geary Street for the past month and a half. Further, he said that he's been working in a foundry in South San Francisco for the same period of time. We checked both of the places out and found that he was telling the truth. He was filed on in San Francisco for grand theft auto and kidnapping. Sunday, February 22nd, we arrived back in Los Angeles, took our witnesses to their homes, and checked into the office. We called Captain Gideon and found that there'd been no new developments in the case. Frank and I went home to get some sleep. Monday morning, 7:45 a.m., we signed into the office. We picked up the flyers and started to canvass the area where we thought the hold-up men were living. During the first day, we were able to check out 28 places. Tuesday, the 24th, it started to rain again. At 8:30 a.m., we started to canvass the rest of the hotels, rooming houses, and boarding houses in the area. For 3 days, we talked to the day and the night clerk in each place. We left each of them a flyer with the description of the men and our card, asking them to call us if anyone answering the description should register at their particular place. For 3 days, it rained. Saturday, February 28th.
Think it'll ever stop, Joe?
It sure is wet.
Yeah. Looks like the guys we wanted dropped off the face of the earth. Nobody's seen or heard of them. I never realized there were so many hotels in L.A.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Well,
try this one. Right.
Yes, something you want?
We're police officers, sir. Here's our ID.
What's that?
Police officers.
Oh, police.
That's right, sir.
Yeah, police. Well, what do you want?
We'd like to know if you've got anyone here who answers these descriptions.
Like this, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's kind of hard to say. If you had a picture of them, it might help.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't have a picture, just that description.
Yeah, it could be the fellas at 4-8 and sure fit what he says here. Yeah, I bet it's them. I knew we should have called you fellas about.
Sir?
See, the day before yesterday, Amy, she's the girl, cleans up. She's taking care of their room. She said that she opened the closet. She saw a gun laying on the shelf. Right out in the open.
Did you report that to police?
Huh? What did you say?
Did you report it to the police?
Oh, no. No, I didn't. You see, I figured that, live and let live. As long as it didn't cause me any trouble. I wasn't about to cause any. And we talked about whether we should let you know, but then we decided against it. I didn't see none. We should have.
Why did you get tell us when you saw them last, sir?
Oh, well, a couple hours ago.
They registered here?
Yeah, and the Scott and Ed Winters. They're up in room 4-8. Ain't there now, though. Let's see. Well, I'll be darned if he ain't there. Well, I guess you're upset. I must have given the key and didn't remember.
That's room 408, you said?
What's that?
I said that's room 408.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 4-8, 4-4. They're up there now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Hey, what are you wanting for? Are they dangerous criminals?
Well, we don't know, sir.
Well, be careful. We wouldn't want anything to happen.
Yes, sir. Here, I'll get the button. What do you think, Joe? I don't know. Hope they're our boys. Some elevator. Yeah. Down this way. 402, 404, 406. Here it is. Want to cover me? Yeah. How is it? Room clerk. What do you want? I'd like to talk to you. Good. All right, Mr. On your feet. Come on. How about the other one? He's out. All right. Here, I'll take him down for you. Stupid. He's plain stupid. I told him 100 times. Stand still. You told him what? That we should have left. Get out of this lousy town. Going back home. Yeah, all right. Let's go. Back in the can this time. We'll never get out of him and his big ideas. Smart guy. Old Ed, the big brain. Tried to tell him. Yeah, well, maybe you'll make it this time. You'll have a lot of time to convince him. The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent. On 17th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Andrew J. Scott and Edward F. Winters were tried and convicted on 12 counts of robbery in the first degree and 10 counts of kidnapping for the purposes of robbery. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. A hold has been placed on them in the event of parole by the state of Arkansas. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for from 5 years to life for each count. In the case of Scott and Winters, these sentences are to run consecutively.